So is everybody good to play Bureau of Investigation?
Yes.
All right, well let's get it going. So this is a game in the system of Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, but it does not necessarily it says it's investigations in Arkham and Elsewhere. It's an investigative game set in the Cthulhu mythos and based upon the Sherlock Holmes.
So we're not going to see Sherlock.
Clearly,
we might not see.
It clearly indicates that it is not a part of Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
And
Just based on
that
the
it is just based on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I like it a little bit better because Sherlock being because they give you how many leads you're supposed to follow. Right. So I like the system a little bit better versus Sherlock Holmes. You have to solve the case and then compare to Sherlock and find out how poorly you did.
With Sherlock, I guys already played one. Yeah, I cannot solve we starting on the second one.
Yeah, right.
Do we need to know what happened in the first one?
I think that's how it really has to be played. Yeah. I agree.
Because no one's going to be Sherlock.
No. Can we just kind of grab our stuff?
There's not really much in the way of rules.
There's the
rules
directory.
There's the map. So we're going to find a case booklet, and then it's going to tell us what to do.
All right. What case are we on?
It should be case 2.
We got there.
Top secret.
Case 2, the expedition. Oh, it's a thick one. 4 hours and 83. Oh, that's got a little.
83 minutes.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay. Yeah. No, you were actually reading.
I was deep into the floor plan.
Yeah.
I was being quiet because I didn't want to interrupt you.
No. Here's the booklet over here.
Yeah, this is
Did I miss that's what she said or something?
Yeah. He said, oh, it's a thick one.
Oh, I completely went over my head.
All right.
That is what she said.
Here we go. Yeah. Anybody want this or
It was good the other week when Don's like, we can't find Mr. Harder. And he's gone, have you tried Lou? Or something like that.
Right.
And just like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was, yeah.
The guys know each
It's
other really well.
It's a distraction. I don't remember.
All right. This says U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Investigation. Gentlemen, this is Boston, May 8th, 1929. Gentlemen, the Museum of Fine Arts was burglarized last night.
No.
How will the 7 people that go there ever? Under normal circumstances, we would have left this matter to be investigated by the local authorities, but the object of this crime is an Inuit statue brought back by the Carter-Lyle expedition.
I bet it looks like that.
Yeah, if I could interrupt for just a second. Our previous one had clones built by a Frankenstein type guy who was a warlock but also used science. So that's how weird they can get. And he was not only breeding clones to look for artifacts, but he was feeding them to ghouls. So there's definitely weird things exist, and our team has already encountered ghouls.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, we're going to also need the Boston Evening Globe issue of May 8th, which may be in there. All right. Okay. Now, this statue is a representation of a fish god, similar to the ones we found during our assault on Innsmouth last year. I am asking you to find this statue and, more importantly, identify the culprits and the possible links they have with the esoteric order of Dagon. It is of the utmost importance to determine whether any hidden branches of the order survived our operation in Innsmouth. I expect your report within 10 days. That's very bold.
That's the official.
That means 10 leads.
10 days. Okay.
We can follow 10 leads.
To play this investigation, you will need this booklet, the Boston map, the directory, and the Boston Evening Globe issue of May 8th, 1929. What? Oh, I guess it's current. So then this has...
Yeah, so I can run that part of the game.
Yeah. Run it.
So
You can run your pockets.
this is where
You can run your mouth.
where you guys tell me what lead you want to follow, and then I will find that lead.
And we have two options per.
Right. So we can interview or we can investigate. Interview is like what it sounds like. It's where you go and you're talking to people, but you're not. You're talking to people on the presumption that they're going to be cooperative.
Is there an
as
option
like
to beat
cops,
the brakes
basically.
off of them?
But if you're like wanting to ransack a place,
Stake out. maybe.
or stake out people or follow people, discreetly, those are all considered investigations. So interviews is just strictly, hey, are you an eyewitness to whatever, and are you going to cooperatively just give us your
And having never played any of these, when you say you've got 10 leads, is each one of those a lead, or is an
Yes.
Well,
investigation
no,
lead, or is
there are, like, in the map,
Like each number we follow.
yeah, there'll
whether
be
it's
like, this is a
investigation
lead, this is a
or-
lead, that's a lead.
And we can investigate and
there's a lot
interview.
more than 10?
Exactly. And we can interview and investigate the same location, but that counts as two leads, obviously. But,
Gotcha.
but doing one does not stop us from doing the other. I suppose a paragraph might tell us that we would never be able to, but we didn't encounter that. Being locked on.
And what's the name of this place again? It's the Boston or
Just
Massachusetts?
Boston.
No,
specifically.
that got robbed.
Oh, yeah.
The fine arts or something?
Museum of Fine Arts, just Museum of Fine Arts.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes the newspaper helps.
Okay, one of the places it's a University of Massachusetts. I just saw Massachusetts. Let's go to Massachusetts.
Okay, so I've just read the newspaper,
Yep.
and there's a mystery. There's three people that the paper interviewed. The museum curator, who they haven't published what his opinion was. Then there was the watchman, Mr. Calvert, and he just said he heard a muffled noise. He's probably not going to help us much. But then, if you read this article, there's a trucking company which Mr. Emerson was arrested after the robbery this morning. His truck rental company operates for the benefit of criminal enterprises.
Okay.
Oh, there's an Emerson Trucks.
Right.
This says museum.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first place we've got to go is
Oh,
museum.
Fine Arts Museum is different than museum.
What number is it? I'm just curious
The
where it shows
The
up. on-
Fine Art Museum is 11 WC.
So
What is
there's different like sectors.
Oh, that's
Northwest,
here.
West, Central, I guess.
Okay, so
Yeah.
do we want to interview anyone at the Fine Arts Museum, i.e. maybe the curator who then express his opinion in the paper?
Okay, that's all nice. Fenway Park is on here? If anybody wants to before...
Right before we get going.
Where is that, Don?
Fenway Park is at 19 WC. It should be in the same area because that's where it is actually. You take the same train
There.
to get to the Fine Arts Museum as you do to Fenway.
Fenway's really small if that's the case because the museum's bigger.
Well,
Fenway's at 19.
Sometimes it's not about the size, it's how you use it.
yeah,
Well,
well, it's a
also-
very old stadium.
You've told me that before.
Where's 19 WC on here, though?
I mean,
It's
it's not
not
because
on
this is
Arkham.
Arkham.
Oh, but isn't that directory for both?
Yeah, but Fenway is in Boston.
Oh, okay.
Historically,
Yeah.
it has stayed in Boston.
No, I understand, but I also thought that maybe,
I was joking. We're not going to Fenway.
but I also was wondering, because
Yeah,
Arkham is
they have
supposed to be in the same
multiple-
state.
Right.
Yes.
I thought maybe it was a burb of Boston.
Oh,
and
sure,
therefore-
Yeah, I think theoretically it's further out. I think it's not like in the location of, I believe.
Okay.
But I would guess Fine Art Museum would be the Museum of Fine Art
Yeah.
if we wanted to go there.
That seems like a good first.
I think we should
Step.
go there.
Because
Yeah.
there's that, but there's also following the lead of, now is that, would we interview the trucking company and potentially get lies, or would we just investigate the trucking company and try to catch them in shenanigans?
Well, and if they were arrested, actually, We might have to go to the jail or the
Alright,
police
yeah.
to get information about that.
Can you
Officer
clarify
Leonard.
with me one thing quickly? Are you saying we're going to do this, what we just did, make a decision and say, okay, we're going to go investigate. So we're going to look that up. Are we doing that 10 times and that's it?
Yes. If there's the chance that we can
So
earn
we will get
more
no
leads.
more information.
Right.
Well, they might
10
give us,
paragraphs.
based upon the first game in this, they might give us like
Like the
free
bonus.
leads,
Yeah.
or they might give us additional days. When they say they give us additional days, that just means additional leads. But we're
Interesting.
starting with a 10 lead limit,
Okay.
so we got to make them count.
So we might need some of those leads might need to
We'll
give
make
us
them count
information
to
about this. Yeah, exactly.
Is there any information anywhere of a name at the
And
museum?
just to double
Yeah,
check,
Kelly.
there's nothing on the backside of the
Nothing,
paper, right?
no.
Just a girl named Kelly?
No,
or
no.
last?
Do we know the
Mr.
curator's
Kelly.
name in case he's not at the museum?
Mr. Kelly.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's
And did
true
we
too.
look it
yeah.
up to see if, like, there's names? So this book gives a list of names. So
Right.
under Kelly, are there other names?
Find him at his home if he's not going to talk to us.
There's a William Kelly. There's a Ben Kelly.
Oh,
Those are the two Kellys.
so we would need to know.
We'd have to go to the museum first, and that'll probably tell us.
And he might be there anyways.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
we would only have to track him down at home if he's not there.
Do we know what day that is? It is Wednesday. Yeah, he's definitely working on Wednesday.
Should be. That's the busiest day for the fine arts.
It is a busy day for the Fine Art Museum. That is actually a wonderful art museum. If you want to go to Boston, go to the Fine Art Museum.
We recently, Christy and I went to the Frisk
Yeah.
a few days ago
Where
to check out their exhibit, the Ottomans and Venetians and how they interacted. And
Yeah,
that
Like the
was
blinds?
fun. Yeah, the blinds and the footstools.
Yeah.
how they interact.
So
A hint.
here's my plug for working, like years ago when I worked for HCA. They are major donors for all of the like stuff around the city.
yeah.
Like Fisk Fisk was one of the like co-founders or co-owners of
Frisk.
HCA. So they would multiple times a year just take us out on free excursions to the Parthenon, the Fine Arts Museum. We would get to go to
Field trips from work.
They went on walkabouts.
we would go and do TPAC all for free. It was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna work, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice perks.
Yeah.
I go on field trips for free sometimes. I mean, literally, it's a field trip from school.
Yeah.
But
you don't go by yourself.
I will say this. Well, you don't go on any field trip by yourself. That's the
By
whole point.
definition, I
That's
guess.
how much
By
of a field
definition,
trip,
it's a group of people that go on. But I would say this, that yes, our Frisk Museum is nice. Those museums, like that one, for example, it's like 20 of them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like that New York museum, you go inside and there's an Egyptian temple
Yeah.
in a room by itself with not a lot of other things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's crazy.
like the museums in
Maybe it's
DC.
like
Yeah.
go to the museum.
Alrighty.
Sophia went to the
Which
Sophia went
was
to
it
the
15 WC?
No, 11 WC.
And we're doing the investigation.
Are you interview or
Interview. Sorry, interview. Because
Doing
we're intending
interview.
to talk to them, right?
Okay.
Or did you would
I don't know what the difference is if you don't know who you're interviewing. So that my inclination without knowing the game would be go there and look around.
Interviewing
But-
would be probably someone in charge, so probably the administration and
the
then,
way
So they would present somebody for us.
right.
the way the game
we
is
would ask
written,
to talk
they're
to the
going to
managers sort of
assume
thing.
that we know what we're doing. So if there is an entry for it, if there's no entry for it, fine. If there's an entry for it, it will be the relevant person we're talking to.
Okay.
It won't be, you know,
Oh, okay.
And
it
we're
won't
going
be the
with
ticket taker going.
right.
You know.
And we're going with the authority of the
And if we
force,
do the
you know,
interview,
investigation.
the investigation, because we're there, the investigation does cost us a different.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no travel time penalties.
And
That's
Right,
Yeah.
but
Would you like
it
that?
still costs us.
that's factored into our one
Like
day
we
a day.
can't ask questions
Yeah.
and wander around. It'll be
Yeah.
a day.
Exactly.
You spend the whole day asking questions.
Exactly. And looking at the
They are
museum
peppered.
exhibits.
But we're not. But looking at them would be investigation.
Well, right.
All right, whatever you guys want. Let's interview. Is that what we're saying?
All right, for the BDC.
Investigate.
Investigate or interview?
Investigate.
I vote
Is it?
interview.
Oh, interview, is it?
Okay.
Like,
Interviewing
so
is talking. So if you wanted to talk to the curator, that's interview.
investigate is like
If you want to
tailing
stake
them,
it out,
spying
if you
on
want to
them,
stake
digging
out the museum.
Oh, no, we want to talk. Yeah.
Let's talk.
Okay.
Talk is cheap.
Okay, so this is our first lead.
It's actually the cost of one lead.
I can get something to write on just to keep track.
Oh yeah.
Lead count.
Tools. There's stuff over there, and there's stuff over there. Sorry. So William F. Kelly, who we presume is the curator,
Yep.
is a tall, white-haired man in his 50s. His voice sounds dry and tired as he welcomes you into his office. Unlike the other rooms in the museum that you have just passed through, this one is quite simple in defying all expectations. There are no works of art on display. Only a plaster bust of Aristotle adorns one of his library's shelves. You quickly address the circumstances of the theft. I can't explain the disappearance of this piece, Mr. Culver. Mr. Culver, the night watchman, was in a room adjoining the one where the statue was on display at the time of the incident. Around 2 a.m., he heard a muffled but loud noise. He immediately went to the room in which the statue, brought back by the Carter-Lyle expedition, was being displayed and could only note its disappearance. The fact is, we aren't talking about some trinket, but a massive statue of a mythological Inuit fish god. It's 6.5 feet tall and is carved from a single block of jade. The artifact is truly impressive, yes, but also terribly heavy.
That is much bigger than I thought from the picture.
The subject matter and its history are profoundly interesting, and the details are meticulously carved with incredible finesse. Truly a fascinating.
Boo, go back to the voice.
This is the internal voice, I think, right?
Oh, I thought it switched to narrator, but I guess I'm wrong. Okay, sorry. The subject matter and its history are profoundly interesting, and the details are meticulously carved with incredible finesse. Truly a fascinating item, one that could have disappeared without a trace. We inspected each of the museum's entrances, but were unable to find any evidence of a break-in. I do hope that you'll be able to unravel this mystery. No, I have no reason to suspect Mr. Culver, the museum watchman on duty. He is a man of exemplary honesty and has fulfilled his duties with an irreproachable dedication and professionalism for over 15 years. So if it was a con, it was a very, very, very long con. Yes, the statue was indeed brought back from the Arctic by the Carter-Lyle expedition. Mr. Jennings, the expedition chief leader, is staying at the Fairmont Copley Plaza. You'll be able to meet him there if you wish. I repeat, he is staying at the Fairmont Copley Plaza. You can meet him there if you wish. And all members of the expedition will be attending the reception tonight at the City Hall. Yes, of course, I will have my secretary add you to the guest list. Before walking back to the museum forecourt, Mr. Kelly shows you around the few rooms reserved for the expedition, where many Inuit artifacts are on display, as well as the more modern equipment used by the expedition to fight the cold or to take various samples. The contrast between ancestral Inuit craftsmanship and American equipment's high technicality is striking, but you do not detect anything in particular. As for the various entrances to the building, which you are inspecting, none has been damaged.
Okay.
In chapter 1, did we blow up a building
I don't recall.
or a fishing port?
Not a fishing port, definitely not. I don't think that there were any explosions when
Were we in Innsmouth?
stuff were seized. No,
No,
we
we
were in Arkham.
Here's the
So this
question.
Innsmouth story is new.
Before our time,
Because
sort of thing.
It's a guy Representative Isaac Goodman said the BOI blew up a building.
Okay.
So
Maybe we
apparently
did.
we're
But who watches The Watchmen?
Right.
We don't keep track of when the guns we lost. Even when we do it for the public interest. We don't
They
keep
were
receipts.
we're on a wild goose chase for alcohol.
Right.
Booze.
So
We definitely have a potential for the Vermont Copley Plaza.
yeah, but why? Why would we?
If we wanted to talk to the,
The expedition
head,
leader.
the leader,
And then the rest of the expedition
maybe
is supposed to be
see-
all together at City Hall
City
in
Hall.
the evening.
yeah. And by evening, obviously the game doesn't track time, so theoretically we could follow that later without penalty. But, the only thing is we're
So
supposed
why
to
would
track
we
which
want to
ones
speak to
follow.
the expedition leader?
I would be interested for motivation, like see if he knows of maybe the cults or any reason that this would be stolen or groups interested.
Or any
Because it-
strange
Rivals.
happenings while they had
Because
possession of it.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, it's a 6.5 feet tall statue
Yeah.
of great cultural significance, Inuit and all that,
Yeah.
but it's not easy to steal. It's not easy to fence,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
and it's
And it's made of
You're
jade,
missing-
so it's not the.
You
yeah,
have
it's not
missing
like
information.
Broken.
Yes.
Fancy.
He told us this, but I'm going to reiterate. The museum watchman, Mr. Calvert, reported particularly being shaken up by the circumstances of the theft. As a matter of fact, he was on duty in an adjoining room. Upon hearing muffled noise, he hurried to the brand new room dedicated to the Inuit art. When he entered less than a minute later, the 7-foot-high, several hundred-pound statue was gone. Even more troubling, none of the museum's entrances were forced. So the fact that it was stolen, it could possibly have disappeared.
Yes,
Right,
Arkham
yeah,
shape.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's woo woo.
That's why I said
Yeah.
strange happenings while they
Yeah.
had possession of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like especially during their travel, bringing it over.
And then that's when Baba Yaga showed up.
I don't know. I mean, it's
You can also investigate that trucking company, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a possibility. City Hall, that's where you said that they're meeting tonight.
Yeah.
I'm just having trouble finding City Hall. Like, I have government offices and I see, like, medical examiners, things like that, police departments, but I'm not finding City Hall.
Okay.
Is it
so
Hall
would
City?
it be?
Yeah.
It could also be somebody in the party who wasn't happy with the amount that they got paid. Had a connection to the trucking company.
Right. Could be.
Well, right now it sounds like it's either woo woo or
Who was
it's
that
inside
one
job. If it's inside
That was
job,
Charles
Andrew.
and Andrew.
Andrew.
Right.
So
Exactly.
hope y'all could unclench.
Makes it easier if we don't.
I'll write down City Hall as a potential lead, but I don't know what the number would be. If anybody else wants to look as well, there's also other museums. Like we could go anywhere, but I don't see any other signposts at the moment to talk
Just
to
like
another
Reading Rainbow.
museum.
I
Right.
can go anywhere.
Can we read the thing that you read, or is that off limits? Once we've read it, we can't reread it.
No, you can reread it. It's
And
11 WC.
yeah, and I'm writing down the ones that we
We're
follow
going
so we can.
to bathroom number 11.
I think I'd be interested in the.
We're just not allowed to read that third time.
I think I'm. Oh, and it counts against us. But we can reread it. It counts again.
This is our second lead.
Yeah.
We talked to him again, and he goes, "Deja vu." And then he,
I forgot what you said. Can you repeat
Yeah.
yourself, please? We were here the other day. Yeah, I think I'd be interested in the hotel, but that's my vote for the next location.
do we have a way to talk to the guard?
Yeah, theoretically, we have his house listed.
Okay.
He's at 1C.
Okay, because
And that could be a talk or stakeout.
Yeah, because I would think that if we think it's woo-woo, then we would interview the expedition leader, and he's maybe going to tell us some woo-woo background stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is all the weird shit that happened on the expedition.
Exactly.
Or, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Legends
legends
revolving around it. Yeah.
Right.
Boston City Hall. E1. It's 1 EC.
Nice.
But if it's not woo-woo, if it was just carted away in that trucking company,
Thank you, Leonard.
then I think we would have to investigate Culvert as like an inside man. And so I would say we'd either have to investigate Culvert or interview the expedition leader next, depending upon which way we think, whether we think it's woo-woo or not.
Yeah.
Woo-woo. Put on some cowboy boots and you'll fit in with the girls downtown.
Woo-woo. all the bridesmaids.
Having a red whatever.
Bridal shower.
Well, no, but theoretically, he'll be at the hotel by himself, even though they're, and at the city hall, they'll all be there. But but city hall, you get less in-depth questioning, or
he might be more forthcoming in a private conversation than any of them would be in front of a bunch of
but
witnesses where they can be called out for being superstitious or
the thing is,
right.
I'm gonna guess, Garrett, they're gonna have apples at the city hall.
Oh, probably. Yep, and I know who would juggle them.
What am I missing here?
From Jason probably remembers that reference. Mortem Medieval Detective, when we found the apple juggler in the plaza, and Don kept wanting to visit the apple juggler.
Pretty much anytime one of these period games introduces a woman,
it was described as
our characters would follow her around.
Well, and specifically a redhead. Like, they described her as a redhead,
right.
So we're like, oh, ooh la la.
Don has a definite
Say
type.
no more.
No.
I've been introduced to his wife. He has a definite type.
My wife is not redheaded or even remotely redheaded.
True.
Never
she
been.
was.
No.
No, she's blonde.
And then the town mayor serves Don in our group with an ABO.
Yeah. Well, but we were getting that anyway, so might as well watch some apples being juggled.
I
don't know.
Definitely not the right one, though.
Are you thinking of the Marvel series?
Maybe. Maybe some
Scarlet
Anyway.
So right now we're down to two locations: the hotel or the city hall.
I wrote down 4 potential leads. I mean, anything is up for grabs.
Right.
We could talk to the people next to the museum if we think that, I don't even know what that building is, but we could talk to, based on proximity, if we think that they might have seen anything.
Right.
But the 4 that I wrote down are the plaza, the hotel, Calvert, if we want to go to his house to talk to the watchman, City Hall for the gala, and
I think the best way to proceed would be with uninformed hunches. So there, we'll go to 18.
Hey,
You will practice this wide open.
Yeah.
Jason, did you look at this picture? Is that Pat Benatar?
It does look a little bit.
Yeah.
She looks a lot like, or Joan Jett. I mean, probably more Joan Jett.
Yeah, more
Joan
Joan
Jett.
Jett.
Yeah.
Was it? I think it was
Like
Joan. Isn't it
Pretenders?
Joan Jett who's on tour right now with Billy Idol?
Yeah.
And they look terrible.
Oh, speaking of tours, so another tour that's upcoming is George Thorogood and the Destroyers. And the thing about that is that was the very first artist that I saw play live at a state fair when I was a teenager living at home, I think in middle school. So that has to have been like 40-ish years ago.
So they got to be skeletons.
I know. Because he wasn't like a young guy then.
But you know what? I bet he was a lot younger than you think. Sometimes those things you're like, oh, this musician, I remember listening to their music, so they must be older. But the thing is, they were all like 18 and
Yeah,
19.
18 when
Right
they,
above
yeah.
You know, like a lot of those rock and roll guys,
There can only be,
they're
one
like
live
5 or
forever
6
Mick
years
Jagger.
older than
Right,
you.
right.
And if he was playing at State Fair, it would have been before he had any hits.
Well, I mean, he was playing all three songs that he's known for.
Then I bet you're getting your timeline confused.
Listen,
Maybe. I don't
we've
know.
already established moments ago that his recollection of people is stellar. So
It doesn't matter. Anyway,
So if we go to the city hall, we have the chance to meet the whole team,
bump into
including
the whole
her.
team.
Versus,
My inclination, if anybody cares, is possibly
moving
go
on.
to the
I'm just
hotel.
kidding.
The hotel.
the hotel. Yeah, fine by me.
Okay, fine by me. Yep.
But again, now we're down to 7 or 8
Mhm.
Whoa,
things.
hang on.
If
You know
we
who
do.
lives right next door?
Hmm.
William F. Kelly.
Oh, okay. He can walk to work.
Right next door.
Who lives
Okay.
next door to him?
Well, I don't know that yet, Don. I just,
Well, look, you got the book.
well, it doesn't have like 17.
Well, there's 20.
Listen here, Mr. Directory Man, direct.
Direct, okay. Who's 24? But that's William F. Kelly that's next door.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also,
So if
remember
we're talking
correctly-
inside man, he's a strong candidate.
Except that I don't know how he would pull it off. See, the security guard can pull it off just by lying about his testimony.
Exactly.
I don't know how anyone else is going to pull it off by tricking the security guard.
He's a curator.
What?
He's a curator.
So,
He's got a hidden compartment
I think
somewhere.
this is going to be
Slide
Bunker
on.
Hill.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
believe that's going to be Bunker Hill. And right over here is some really good Italian food.
Nice.
Yeah, and the
Let's
Italian-
investigate.
so we
And
want to
somewhere up here is
investigate.
Yeah.
I reckon we
Somewhere up
catch a
here
game
is
first.
the
Catch a baseball game at Fenway Park and then go to the Triumphs.
I'm trying to remember where that
Chinese.
famous cannoli place is.
Or Italian.
We went there.
also somewhere up here is the church
5WC.
where they
Okay.
lit
Or the hotel.
And we're interviewing.
What's the name of that church?
I think
where they
so.
lit
Yeah,
the
yeah, I don't
lanterns
think
for the
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't
That
My
is,
remember.
brain
Alexander Warren lives there.
Alexander
Isn't that
Warren.
where, wasn't it the circle area where the massacre happened? The Boston
Could be.
massacre? I
Maybe.
think- I think
So is everybody
Well,
on
history
board to interview expedition leader at the hotel?
Yes.
Okay.
It's taken us an hour to get to our second.
Yeah, but we only have 10, so we're not really.
And they're days, not
And I
hours.
wouldn't say hour. I mean, we shot the shit for a little
It's a
while.
day.
Ate some cookies and chips.
Okay.
Forgot about Don's wife.
A lot of those happen.
I don't have the greatest recollection for faces. I just had it mentally bookmarked. But anyway, I conflated Don's fantasy life with his real life. Anyway. Anywho.
All right. Cheers is out here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, actually, it's.
Yes, this theft is unfortunate, but it won't tarnish, at least as far as I'm concerned, the success of the expedition or the wonderful memories I have.
Okay.
Professor Jennings grabs the photograph of the expedition members he had placed on the coffee table at the beginning of your interview in the Grand Hall of the Paramount Copley Plaza Hotel. He scrutinizes it with some intensity, straightens one of its angles slightly folded between his thumb and index fingers, and hands it over to you as with regret. Okay, they didn't start quotes again, but I'm assuming quotes here. I really like this photograph. It was taken on the deck just before weighing anchor to return to Boston. It reminds me of the strong ties that united us throughout the expedition. Even Kaz seems calm. No, that's not what I said. Let's put it this way. We got off on the wrong foot. I must admit that I was very disappointed to learn that Peter Sykes was accompanying the bird expedition to the South Pole. And I think that Kaz must have sensed it. Anyway, in hindsight, I think he wanted to prove and establish himself. But true enough, he was more of a burden on several occasions and even endangered the expedition. But that's ancient history, and I'd rather not talk about it anymore. Anyway, that's not why you're here. And at least he wasn't a deadweight like Ower, John's assistant. The poor child had been sick during the whole expedition. Yes, sorry, the statue. The region's natives entrusted it to us. Believe me when I say it wasn't easy to befriend them. You see, these people are savages who still live in the Stone Age. Well, anyway.
These people.
Yeah, it was so hard making friends with these savages. It's like,
the entire crew and the entire groups of people. Yeah, he's a winner.
Well, anyway, we finally managed to earn their friendship, and they offered us the statue the day before we left. An impressive work representing an aquatic deity that is supposed to guarantee them abundant fishing in exchange for minor sacrifices. A very beautiful piece that calls to mind certain statues found in the Pacific off the coast of New Guinea. I wouldn't be able to put a price on it. As far as I'm concerned, it is priceless. No, I don't know who could have stolen it. Yes, of course, I will provide you the names and addresses of the other expedition members. Florence and John Abbas live at 27 Marsh
That's the chick.
Street,
So Dawn's there already.
ELS.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Like you.
Florence and John Abbas live at 27 Marsh Street, ELS. Although Florence spends most of her time at her studio.
Okay.
George A. Shellum lives at 1 Leonard Avenue Northwest. And I think that Chaz E. Johnston is still at 3 Albany Street Southwest. In any case, that's the address he gave when he was hired.
So,
Silly me, I have a better idea. Why don't you come to the mayor's reception tomorrow evening? Take these invitations and good luck with your investigation.
Who thought to come here?
The mayor of Boston invites you to the reception given in honor of the Carter Lyle expedition, Boston City Hall, 1 School Street, EC.
So these three live together, is what you're saying?
Well, no, there was two.
John and
Florence and
Florence.
John live together. They're Florence and John Abbott, so apparently they're married.
Yes.
And then
And she has a
George.
studio? of
Where
some
does
kind?
Jennings live?
Yeah, we don't know where this
That's
is.
Oh,
where
that
we
is
just
Jennings.
Nice.
That is Jennings.
That's Jennings, okay.
And then we have George A. Shellum, and we have Chaz E. Johnson.
You know, the thing about those savages, I bet they can paint with all the colors of the wind. So
Oh, is that internal? That's where we just were. That's the Fairmont Copley.
Nice.
Oh.
That's the interior of it.
look at that.
Yeah.
It was
Bougie.
very nice. Yeah.
Apparently, there's money in the artifacts world.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of money in that. There is a lot of money in that. I'm sorry. I sometimes get confused between my character and my current life.
At least you remember what
So-
your wife looks
so
like.
could it be one of the,
I know what my life like. It's like, don't get me confused
No,
with the character that I play.
Right.
So could it be that one of them was disgruntled?
I
They
mean,
found an artifact hidden
Yeah.
inside the statue and then arranged to have it stolen.
Or could it be that the statue took a minor sacrifice and then evaporated back to its home place
Amazing.
with the sacrificed body?
I'm surprised that
Who's
we're not
missing?
investigating this guy's murder because he's such a jerk. Like, people have motive to kill this guy, I think.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is he says that they made friends with the natives, and then the natives entrusted the statue to them, but he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's maybe
Earn
going.
trust.
Yeah. So was it more that they just stole the statue,
That's what I'm thinking.
and then
It's-
there's retribution to be paid?
It seems weird that they would give up their guaranteed source of good fishing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It also seems like we're like really fighting the British on this sort of thing. What number is that? Was that 3 though?
That was 5.
5WC.
Yeah.
5WC. So it's
That's the hotel
The
location.
WB.
where's the W?
No, that's I'm sorry. So,
Here.
okay.
And that is roughly where it is. So somewhere in here are some none of those big things. I just was looking to see what other historical things are around it that are in this game.
Nice.
I was wrong. Whatchamacallit is up here.
Bunker Hill.
Bunker Hill is
Yeah.
up here. It's kind of like right there.
Where is it? Is that the park? The
This is
Goodwill
the-
Hunting Park?
This is the
That
public
lake, right?
public commons.
Yeah.
So we've had
Well,
we've had two sets
maybe,
of
but
two sources of
I don't really know
invitations
that
to
that well,
the
but like
Right.
my
reception
team
at
is
City
over
Hall.
here.
Right.
But
Actually,
what's
it's-
that going to reveal to us? What's
There's a big park with a lake. I feel like it might be public
We
garden.
have a way
Yeah.
to
might
go
be
and
right there.
talk to the
Yeah,
other
this is the
expedition
Boston
members
Commons.
Yeah.
privately.
Right.
Finial
If
Market is over
the-
here, which is
At
really old.
best, will not
Education was on
corroborate
here.
Professor Jennings' account of things, like give
Yeah.
a different account, you know.
Massachusetts Unit.
I kind of wonder if-
ELS. Where's the
I wonder if there's the chance that something might happen at City Hall, like some sort of
Oh no, I'm sorry.
protest or I doubt a murder, but something along the lines of like
210
some sort of
ELS
I
is
still think
Harvard University.
Maybe we should
Maybe there's
consider
another
also
map later on.
investigating
Maybe.
from
It's
Mr. Kelly's
16
house.
northwest.
Okay.
So
Next
16.
Okay.
But again, you say weird stuff happens. If it was just a straight investigation, I would
So this is MIT.
investigate his house. It's next door.
Right. Yeah. He's
See,
got the proximity.
I'm torn between. I mean, I can
Harvard
see,
is
I,
in.
I could see Kelly having, like
Cambridge.
you know, or he
Yeah,
has
but
access.
No,
Yeah.
But I don't know.
He might have
Wasn't it
Yeah.
on here?
But I
It should
don't
be.
know that
It is,
but
but
I,
it says.
but I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah,
he'd
that's what you
have
were
to
saying.
mean.
So
Right.
It
Right.
makes me think that there's
Yeah, there's gotta be
another
another
Whereas
map later
Clover
on when we
might
have to
not
go to
have
Harvard.
motive, but he has
He has more access, so more opportunity.
more.
and-
But
I feel like
but
we just
he-
got sent to a place for no good reason.
because all he has
Yeah,
to
there wasn't a
do.
lot there.
He was the
other than
night security
what would be
guard,
Right.
Probably
right? So,
Yeah,
gleaned
he
from
just
the-
has to
so
lie.
the
City Hall
the curator is not even
Well, there's the
been
Harvard,
there, right? So supposedly the only person there is the night security guard,
Historically, like
who just has to
I think
open
it's
the
here
loading bay
is
for a
the
truck,
Mystic River.
Right.
help them load it, and then
There's
just
that
say,
movie.
"I heard the
Pizza?
noise," and a
And
minute
it
later
was
it's
gone.
gone.
Mystic
his
River.
motivation might
Oh,
be
it's so good.
He's
It's
been
a
there 15
kind of
years. He's old, got no retirement.
gangster adjacent.
Right.
Huh.
It's about like
He
these
wants to
small
help
town
him.
crooks.
I don't know, it's something to
And
get
one
their
of the kids,
statue
his
back. Right.
Now we could.
son gets
The other
abducted,
thing we could
and
do
there's a
is
guy from the neighborhood.
just say that, or
So they all
that regardless of whether it
assume
was
he's the guy
the
that's
curator
trying to beat
or a
the
member
crap
of the
out him and kill
expedition
him.
or the
Yeah,
security
It's
guard,
wonderful, but it's Sean
that
Penn,
if it was a straight up theft
Tim Robbins.
to,
It's
Okay.
to get a
so,
statue
so
of that size,
They
They
that
probably
out.
need
the
a
trucking
truck.
company.
There are lots
So
of
just
gangsters up in that
cut
area.
straight to investigating the trucking
Yeah.
company
A lot
and
of
see if that
like
leads us
historic
back to the inside
Boston crime.
individual.
I'd be happy to do that.
My relatives
And
live near there.
And they're already a little suspicious because of the arrest
Yeah.
of the owner.
Well, we're kind of thinking that we've been sent on a wild goose chase for this the sake of the game to kind of
Could be, yeah. That could be.
waste of one of our.
It tells you who Emerson's lawyer is, but you want to talk to the cop who arrested him, not the lawyer. Lawyer's not going to tell you the truth, is he?
They never. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, as if a cop is going to tell the truth. Come on.
so
You only see lawyers with their hands in their own pockets when it's so cold
on,
out.
over here, we were discussing possibly investigating the trucking company, or if there's a way to talk to the arresting cop or whatever, but I don't know how to do that.
There are police departments, but I don't know if it would lead us down that path necessarily.
Does it tell us where the arrest took place, or
No, it just says
because I think there's a different police department in each
That's
Precincts.
precinct, whatever.
Mhm.
no, it doesn't. It just says Kelvin Ramsey Esquire.
I mean, but in the What's it say about them? What were they arrested? Where were they?
It just says Mr. Arthur Emerson was arrested this morning on counts of contraband, receipt of stolen goods, and accessory to alcohol smuggling.
So would it have been the precinct where the same precinct where the trucking company is located more than likely?
Well, where is Mr. Ramsey
Right.
office located?
Yeah, and also.
Why do you
the guy
guys
who was
want to go
arrested,
down
he's there.
the route of the trucking person?
If it wasn't magic, they'd probably need some sort of
it's
large
magic.
vehicle.
10 southeast is Emerson's.
You know.
10
Hey,
southeast
Hardy.
is where Emerson is.
What, southeast you said?
10 southeast.
Okay, so southeast, and then where's the trucking company?
That's 10 southeast. That's a trucking company. Kelvin Ramsey is 2 southeast.
Okay, so so if we want to talk to the precinct, we would probably talk to the precinct in southeast. So we could either interview the precinct in southeast, or we could investigate the trucking company in southeast if we're going to go down the road of it was carted away by that trucking.
But we would find, police department, 2 southeast, southeast Islet precinct. It's 2 southeast. Boston Police Department is nowhere. Southeast precinct. Okay, it's 6 southeast. Boston Police Department.
So there's this precinct you said, and then
So there,
6 is down there.
so there's 2 precincts in southeast.
No, just the one. I was reading the government office.
Okay, so 6 is the
Boston
precinct.
Police Department, 6 southeast.
Okay, so we could either interview at 6 southeast, or we could investigate the trucking company at whatever southeast, or we could, if we're going to follow that line of investigation.
Yeah.
But that's just, what do you guys think? Or do you want to just talk more, you want to get more background on the statute?
I'd like it all. But we've only got so many.
Wouldn't you delegate then in that situation? Wouldn't the Nashville Police Department delegate?
One would think, but I don't think we would have a
Resources.
a cap of leads and be like, oh, once you talk to 10 people, you're
Right.
done.
Yeah.
Don't you dare talk to another person.
Yeah. That's funny. I'd also be okay going to the city hall. I think that there's a chance that they're trying to waste our time, but I wonder
Yeah.
if they're revealing other exhibits. I wonder if other things might be disappeared or
My concern,
protested.
having never played any of the Sherlock games or the previous one of this, is if we went to the city hall and there's all those people, would we get to talk to all those people, or is it like each one's going to be another lead to talk to them all?
It should be one lead to talk to. Sometimes multiple people. Sometimes if it's the city hall, it might just be the mayor, and it might just be like
Yeah, because we would basically have to interview at City Hall.
yeah.
And so we would get there, we would do the thing, and then the hope would be that the game is leading us to there's some triggering event that would occur and that would give us further leads to follow.
Nothing like a hope and a prayer.
Right.
Only because the initial leads that we've had are, talking to the curator was a pretty obvious thing to do, and then he gave us invites to City Hall. Talking to the expedition leader was a pretty obvious thing to do, and then he gave us invites to City Hall. Yeah. So you've got the game telling us twice, hey, you might want to go to City Hall. And go to the reception at City Hall. We don't know why though.
But do they want to just throw us?
Let's go to City Hall, and we've still got options to go to the police department if you don't get anything from that.
We can also talk to the Inspector Arone. Is he not the one who gave us the lead or anything like that? Like, he might be it sounds like he's the guy who, the officer who is listed in the paper regarding the burglary. So he might have some other information that didn't make it into the paper.
Have we known that the investigating officer? Does it say it here somewhere?
It just says there's a little bit that Inspector Arone and his legendary sagacity will be able to solve this mystery.
Okay. So you want to interview the inspector?
I mean, it's just another potential. I might write down as another potential.
Is he in the directory or is he going to be at a police?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm not sure.
What's his name?
Arone.
Arone. A-R-O-N-E.
I've got a John Owen
Would be good.
at 12 WC.
Okay, cool. Just in case, I mean, yeah, my thought is he might have other information that didn't make it to the paper.
Yeah.
I think my leaning would be towards City Hall, but I don't mind, like, definitely.
All right, well,
let's do it.
All right, let's interview at City Hall and just see what they hit us with.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that?
1 EC.
1 EC?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. A muffled noise pulls you out of your drowsiness. Then a second one, accompanied by a bone clinking sound. You come back to reality as your eyes adjust to the scene's brief or bright lights. A harpoon in hand, legs bent but chest straight, a primitive dressed in animal skin stomps on the floor, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The bone trinkets that adorn his outfit tinkle along to his rushing, jerky movement. His gestures accelerate, and the crowd stiffens several times as he threatens them with his harpoon. The percussion, followed by the rest of the big band placed at the back of the stage, enter the fray and play surging notes as he disappears in a storm of white confetti. You return, like the rest of the audience, to civilization. Guests occupy the dance floor, wriggling to the music beats, while others gather to the rhythm of conversations. The mayor seems to be tirelessly repeating parts of the speech he gave less than an hour ago to a procession of crawlers waiting to laugh at the same jests. A little farther down, Arthur Jennings, continues to congratulate himself ad nauseum on the success of his expedition in front of a large map retracing the key stages of the expedition. At the bar, Chaz E. Johnston drinks more than he should and sharply rebuffs the few guests who dare to approach him. The crackles of flashbulbs draw your attention back to the mayor. He poses with a haughty, magnificent middle-aged woman before abandoning his queue of crawlers and taking her to a private booth surveilled by 2 policemen in plainclothes. You grab a journalist by his sleeve. The woman's name is Alexandra Zakharich. She is a Russian collector, moreover a widow who fled communism and whose latest acquisition seems to be the mayor. Suddenly, time stops for you and a few policemen. A woman screams from above. You rush up the stairs with your guns drawn while the 2 policemen at the mayor's table respond by safely extracting the city's leader in the opposite direction. The eagle is on the move. You jostle a few guests who do not appear to have heard anything over the din of the big band's frenzied rhythms. An open door. On the threshold, a waitress is staring at the floor of the room with a carafe of whiskey spills at her feet and shards of glass. You gently pull her aside and point your weapons. A small living room. On the floor, Dr. Shelton's body. A bronze bust of the 3rd President of the United States stands in the center of a white and pink flower of flesh and brain matter that was once the man's head. Later that evening, you are informed that the Bureau, upon learning of the new developments, has granted you an additional 3 days. So we've got 3 additional clues that can follow. 13.
Yay!
So we have 10 to go.
Yeah. and this says, if you wish, you can conduct one last interview, not an investigation, before the news of Dr. Shellham's death spreads. You can't interview the doctor, of course, because she's dead. Subsequently, add 1,000 to the addresses you wish to visit. For example, 1
from
EC
now on.
becomes 1,000 EC. By applying this modifier, you can return to leads you have already visited. Note, each of these new entries will cost you one lead. Okay. So we can do one more lead prior to the news of her death spreads, but then for the whole rest of the game, we'll have to add 1,000 anything that we want
Does that
to simulate.
cost us in our new leads,
It does.
or it's a free lead?
It still costs us.
Yeah, it's just,
But why was the band frenzied?
So this,
Asking
so
the
this
real
this guy's dead. This guy's drinking and a bit obnoxious. These two we didn't see,
Right.
and he's
a-
boasting about it.
Boasting about
and
himself.
we know he's a jerk.
So, yeah, I mean, why is he drinking and angry?
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
stole an artifact?
Especially
Or he
during
just killed somebody?
the parties.
Because
Yeah.
he's the person they forced into stealing it, even though they didn't want to.
That's right, yeah. Solved.
So we could talk to him, but do we want to talk to him
Not from the
before or
museum,
after?
stealing it from the Inuits.
That's what I'm saying,
Well,
yeah.
he's drunk.
Stole that
he's
shit.
He's drunk. I mean,
Yeah.
he might give us nothing and tell us to go away, or he might spill
Right.
beans.
what,
Right.
Chaz Johnston?
Yeah.
Or he might
Yeah.
try to molest us in a drunken
He's
stupor.
drunk. Who knows? It could go any of
He gets
those.
that a lot to you.
He could offer us a drink.
Good. Why don't you come up by the fire and candles and have a little drink, baby?
Yeah.
I would recommend that whatever we do take them up on the offer of interviewing one last time before the news comes out.
Yeah.
That seems to be a significant that they're allowing us to do that. So I'd
Right.
take them up on it. So who?
Oh, I don't know that we can specifically interview him though because of the way the game works.
Interview who?
Chaz, the one who's at the bar drinking, Johnson, Chaz Johnson.
Why?
We have to give an address.
Yeah,
Oh, we've got to give an address.
right, or some sort of like
Yeah,
paragraph
yeah.
number.
Yeah.
And you were reading the other people, but it's not like it said. It's not like they gave.
No,
us
it said where
phones.
some people live in there.
Well,
In the previous thing, he said, "I'll tell you where some of these people are."
right. So, but the thing is are we going to be able to get Chaz Johnston at home? Is Chaz Johnson going to make it, as an example, going to make it home before learning of Dr. Shellham's death?
Right.
Well, theoretically, yes, because we're not adding 1,000 to it. So if we want to interview him after knowing about the death, we would have to do it at 1,000. But if we want to interview him prior to knowing about it, the game's just given us an opportunity to get a contrasting story from the same person,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
We could also look at the doctor's home, I guess.
Yeah, we cannot do a pre-death investigation.
Right.
We
Oh,
can-
true.
We can only
Yeah,
do a
just-
pre-death, or pre-news of death getting out interview.
Yes.
That's all we're allowed to do.
Yeah, gotcha. So we can't scope that. So okay.
We can investigate, but everything is going to be post-death at this point that we investigate, or post-news of it.
Right.
I won't tell if you won't tell.
I don't have a strong leaning on where we spend it. Like, I feel like it's significant, but I don't know what the right answer is.
But I think Don's correct. I think the only time we're going to maybe get like a significantly different story between a pre-news of death and post-news of death interview is going to be individuals who have some connection to Dr. Shelley.
Expedition.
Like in interviewing Joe Schmo on the street, he's not going to
Where does
change his
Joe
story.
Schmo go?
So I would be narrowing our pool of suspects to interview to those who knew the doctor.
I got a
I like
Schwartz.
that. Yeah.
I got a
My
Schwartz.
Schwartz is bigger.
Who knew the doctor or had some connection to the artifact or rumors of curses around the artifact, some
Right.
knowledge of the artifact, or knew the doctor.
I just know if I was there, I'd be talking to him because he's drinking.
Yeah.
But you just mean at the party you'd be hanging out with him and drinking.
Yeah.
Well,
Go talking to him.
Yeah.
Who died
Since
again?
he's
Shellum died?
The guy,
Yeah.
And Johnston is the drunk.
Yeah.
Right. So we could in theory talk to either Johnston, or we could go to the homeless couple.
You can call him Ray.
Now the couple are located where?
27. I wrote down 27 ELS. It looks like, I don't know.
All right.
Is that right?
ELS is off the map. That is near
okay.
Boston.
Okay.
I mean, near Boston.
Harvard.
Yeah.
Near Harvard.
Gotcha.
There are 3 Johnstons, all identified as a C Johnsons. Charles, Chaz E, that would be Charles E.
Well, we were given
Clinton.
we were given the address.
Oh, were we?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, 3 Southwest.
3.
That would be Chaz.
That would be Charles E.
He's just a
Chaz
cat.
is
Three
Charles.
Johnsons.
Okay.
Yeah. So to
I don't think they call it. Well, maybe it's the 20s. They might have called
to-
somebody Chaz. What's up, Chaz?
So
Right.
to Jason's point, do we think that Chaz, who does not have family ties, might be more loose-lipped than the couple who might be totally
Yeah, they might cover
lying?
for it. Yeah.
Or they might be in a domestic and want to throw the other one under the bus. But that's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
stretch.
that-
That's a stretch.
That only happens in Australia.
Also,
No, sorry.
they don't have her listed in here. They only have John.
Well, we've got an address.
Well, although they did say that she's more likely to be found in her studio, and
So if we just show up at the address, we might only be talking to him.
probably. I did not write down a studio address. I don't think
They didn't give
gave
us
a
one.
studio
Yeah,
address.
they did. So we have the home address of the couple. We have the home address of Chaz.
And
So
then-
the question
yeah.
is, I think the question boils down to which of those two do we want to interview prior to them learning of Sheldon's death?
I think Chaz,
All right.
because to your point, he's getting drunk and upset at a party that should be.
Yeah, so he might not
He
be
should be
on board with
an
the whole
MVP.
thing.
Celebratory.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay, so
one
that
of the
was-
doctors is a Professor Henry Armitage. It's listed in here.
Yeah, I saw that.
Have you encountered Professor Henry Armitage yet?
No.
All right, he is a standard
We-
Cthulhu character.
We worked for him in,
Yes.
in the
Okay, so what is
Card game.
Chaz's?
3 Southwest.
Oh, we're gonna get out of here before midnight.
Is that one of our goals?
I will.
Oh, yeah. I got to wake up at like 4 in the morning.
Okay, so 3 Southwest, you said?
What are you doing?
Got in service and they bumped it forward. So they be there at 5:30.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Chazzy Johnston lives in a shabby small apartment. Upon discovering the mess within, it is abundantly clear that he leads the life of a dissolute bachelor. Clad in a dirty undershirt, the freebooter mumbles to invite you in, his cigarette bobbing between his lips. As if to apologize for the mess, he offers you each a glass of bourbon. You interrupt his search for clean glasses, telling him it's a bit early in the day for you, which doesn't stop him from fixing himself a drink. Yeah, the expedition. I'm telling you straight out, that's the last time I worked with amateurs. Not to brag, but if I hadn't been there to pull them out of the heap of shit they were in, they wouldn't even have been an expedition. Take Arthur Jennings, the so-called great chief leader. Well, he can clown around in front of the press, but that's the only thing he's good at. That and accepting laurels that don't belong to him, of course. At such level of incompetence, it's almost a miracle I've managed to bring everyone back safe and sound. And what do I get for my hard work? An invitation to an event in his honor? What a joke. All right.
Okay.
That's it.
That's all he said?
Yep.
So he just has animosity. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Yeah,
Just has-
animosity. He's poor.
Yeah.
You know.
He might have something different to say.
He's-
Post? No.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that he would have done a heist though, because he doesn't seem to like that would be more
Right. I don't think that, like,
The keeping cool or whatever, like not
He
drinking.
clearly doesn't like being in a pile of shit, so stealing a
Yeah.
statue. would
I don't
certainly
think
put you-
he, like,
Yeah.
I don't know that he is our clue to who took, but why
Right.
it could have happened. Like, I like your idea that something happened, whether that somebody put something inside of it or
Yeah.
they did something underhanded to the Inuit people.
I think they just flat out like stole it.
So
I
they've
would
stolen
assume
it,
that, yeah.
and he's basically got them out of there.
Right.
But we don't have information that they've stolen this.
Not yet.
We have a suspicion.
But we, and maybe if we talk to him again, now that we have to add 1,000 to everything, he might be more forthcoming as to why the doctor in
was
particular
killed.
was killed.
Yeah.
Like, was he the worst offender of whatever they did?
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
So we can, so
Well-
at this point, we can interview and investigate. We're going to add 1,000 to everything.
Do we know where Shellum lives? Is that on that list? The doctor.
Do you want to check out his place?
I think that was 1 Northwest. What is the location for 1 Northwest?
Yes, George Shellum,
Gotcha.
1 Northwest.
So do you want to investigate his
My
place?
thought is if they've murdered him for something, not just
Yeah.
teeth, but like him specifically got. Is it say anything in there about how it feels like he was targeted? Like did they go past the other people to kill him?
There was a bunch of people at the party, and it was just that person that was dead, right?
Yeah. In one of the.
What was the city hall? I can go back to the description.
Yeah, City Hall was 1 EC. It was in like one of the side rooms, but I don't know that was. Yeah,
So you know what I'm saying? Like if they're
yeah.
targeting him, then he possibly has evidence.
It's a small living room. So in a small living room, Dr. Shellum's body.
He's just
And it was a bronze bust of the third president of the United States stands in the center. So it was basically a weapon at hand.
who that is.
Hamilton? I don't know.
Third president of the United States.
Come on.
Was it one of the Adams?
It was Adam, yes. Yeah. It's
I can't
Washington,
remember.
or is it Washington Adams Jefferson? Yes, it's that order. Washington Adams
Sophie Jefferson.
It would be Jefferson.
Yeah, it was a little bit ago. So.
When's the last time I watched Hamilton? To get my history?
Anywho,
Well, it's an odd turn of a phrase to say the third president.
Yeah, instead of
naming.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yes, we could either go to his house or interview that Johnson again.
Yeah.
I like the. I mean, we would certainly get to more interviews, but I do like the idea of investigating the home of the murder victim
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
as a standard. Do they do that in the police anymore? Investigate murders?
Investigate, yeah.
Are there murders investigated? Is that a thing the police
Gotta
do?
do that.
Okay.
Is that in between giving out tickets?
Yeah, no, they've got
You gotta get some
dedicated
tickets first.
homicide
That's
detectives.
weird.
Okay. So what was that address?
1 Northwest.
Is that
So I
so
guess
many?
it would be 1,001
Yeah.
Northwest.
I would think they probably solved more than they don't.
Oh yeah, there was actually one that was surprised a couple years ago. That nurse that got killed on the interstate
Yeah.
in that
Oh,
driveway.
yeah.
They solved that, which I was like, God damn, good on them. 'cause
Yeah.
Solved it.
It was just a drive-by thing, and
That
they
is
did
insane.
also that they did like a geofence for cell phones, and then
Wow.
whatever. I mean, it was
So it was a random just drive-by shooting.
like a road rage situation, I think.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
You,
insane.
does someone else want to read?
No, your voices are doing great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is an
If you can do
investigation. There's
Janet
not going to be
Yellen,
voices.
that's
but-
icing on the cake.
Okay. Do what now?
Janet Yellen.
Yeah.
How could we be strong and resilient?
Anyway. You managed to sneak into the building.
Yes. Yes. More. More.
Can you do it in a southern accent as if you don't know what southern accents sound like?
Yeah.
More
More of it sounded like you took your dentures out and you're talking.
All right, let's go. We're never gonna make it. We're never gonna make it.
You manage to sneak into the building and force the door to Dr. Shellham's apartment. The scene you discover there is most peculiar. From the kitchen to the bedroom, through the living room, dozens of books lie open among leftovers and ripped open cans of food abandoned here and there. Rummaging through his office, you find the handwritten order for Joseph Pollard's involuntary commitment drafted by Dr. Shellham and dated the day before the expedition's return to Boston.
How interesting.
On his nightstand, between a pile of books on various subjects and a half-eaten raw chicken carcass, you find his copy of 5 lectures on psychoanalysis.
Okay.
Your attention is drawn to his diary. The first part is quite humorous, illustrated with small caricatures. In it, he flippantly addresses several subjects: an adulterous relationship between the expedition chief leader and Florence Abbess, a homosexual relationship that John supposedly had with his student, Joseph Pollard, the one that they,
Yeah, Pollard's in here as well. So
as well as Chaz E. Johnston's fascination with Florence Abbess, a likely consequence of an unresolved Oedipus complex that causes him to regard the photographer as if she were his own mother, especially when she makes pancakes.
Technically, it's pronounced Oedipus.
Oedipus complex. I've never Oedipus, so I went no.
All right, well, that was revealing.
The doctor adds that he harbors a feeling.
Psychological analyst thing situation here.
The doctor adds that he harbors a feeling of aggressiveness toward his lover and expedition leader, the latter taking on the role of the father in his psyche whenever he asks him to work.
So Shelham's just psychoanalyzing everybody.
But I'm trying to parse the he. Okay.
I think he's still talking about Chaz, probably. I assume.
But Chaz's lover isn't the expedition leader, so.
Back up a little bit. There was a thing about.
A homosexual relationship that John supposedly had with his student Joseph Pollard.
okay, so Pollard.
So isn't that
That's
husband of Florence?
Yeah, husband of Florence.
Oh,
That's John. That's Florence. Chaz.
Yes.
Shell.
Okay, and that's expedition.
And who's
leader,
the expedition leader?
Jenny, something Jenny, Anthony or whatever her name is. I think it's
Carl?
Jensen.
Jennings. There's a Carl Jennings.
I forget exactly.
Yeah.
Arthur A. Jennings.
Arthur A. Jennings.
Okay. Anywho, so the point is the doctor adds that he harbors a feeling of aggressiveness toward his lover, an expedition chief leader, the latter taking on the role of the father in his psyche whenever he asks him to work. The writing adopts a more serious academic tone in its later pages. The doctor discusses at length the phallic aspect of the jade statue and its probable function in a system of primitive fertility rites.
One big green penis.
Then follows a clinical study of Joseph Pollard's behavior, which goes through several phases. See pages 38 through 39. So we've got access to this.
So what are the phases? Oh, well, we'll see in a minute.
The diary ends abruptly and its last pages are blank. So we get access to this.
And whose diary is that?
This is
the dead guy.
This is
Shelham's
a clinical study of Joseph Pollard's behavior by
Shellham.
Shelham.
So all we know about Pollard is that he is the lover of this. Was he on the expedition as well? And he's a donut puncher. But anyway, he was
a donut puncher.
He's on the
he was supposedly the student and lover of John.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Abash. Best.
Yeah.
while Florence was having an affair with expedition leader Jennings,
Mhm.
and Chaz had the hots for Florence. Oedipus complex, yay or nay, doesn't matter. She's hot looking.
Did we never established? Okay.
Well,
No, we have a picture.
Yeah, we have a picture. You know,
and she does look like if you take the gear off, she's got a pretty hot bod.
yeah. So I mean, you don't have to have an Oedipus complex in order to be attracted to a woman. But regardless. But then it's like, it sounds like someone was having. It sounded like a homosexual affair with
donut puncher.
with-
Well, I don't think it
with-
sounded. It was pretty clear.
Yeah.
but with expedition leader, meaning that he's bi because he's doing
No,
Florence.
not with the expedition leader.
He said
The professor.
No, with John.
the doctor adds that he harbors a feeling of aggressiveness toward his lover and expedition chief.
Oh.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
The latter taking on the role of the father in his psyche whenever he asks him to work.
So he was actually sleeping with him. Is that right?
That's the way it reads to me.
no.
Then-
Let me look at this.
Yeah.
But where's Pollard in all of this? Like, was
Yeah,
he on the
you can-
expedition as well, or is he just?
What a tangled web of lust and deceit.
Right.
No.
You get trapped on a ship for like 4 months.
This is
Who
the
knows
first
what-
we're hearing of Pollard,
Ship orgy.
Right.
right? Because we saw.
All right. It says that he flippantly addresses several subjects. Subject 1: an adulterous relationship between the expedition chief leader and Florence Abbast.
Okay.
Okay. A homosexual relationship that John supposedly had with his student Joseph Pollard.
Got it.
Okay. As well as Charles E. Johnston's fascination with Florence.
Right.
Okay. A likely consequence of an unresolved Oedipus complex that causes him to regard the photographer as if she were her own mother. Blah, blah, blah. The doctor adds feelings of aggressions toward his lover and expedition chief leader, the latter taking on the role of the father in his psyche. So,
They were lovers.
So they were lovers and they were lovers?
Yeah.
And then who's with it?
nope. I think the he.
Yeah,
We
we
need
need
some
a
arrows.
we need a murder
Preposition-
board.
Yeah.
Preposition
or
mining.
A lover board.
We're preposition mining, but I'd say preposition. Yeah, or
Okay.
not pronoun mining. Or pronoun mining.
yeah.
All right. Husband and wife.
The red shows up well.
Okay.
That's not these are husband and wife.
These are husband. Okay. So, husband and wife.
Okay. It's the
They're
Pollard
banging each other.
thing, isn't
And
it?
these two are banging each other?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do.
Everything's clear about except for the very last relationship.
Bang.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay. Who is Shellum? What's his last name? First name?
And he is lust.
I didn't write that down.
Well, yeah,
Doctor.
but not
No, I don't know.
in a
It is
mothering
listed on
way.
there.
George.
Not in
Is it a
a.
mothering way? Or?
Georgette.
Well,
Yes.
Oedipus
Other way.
complex, but he just has a fascination with her, so I
Yeah.
would deem that more lust than like in a motherly way.
Right, exactly.
I think the
And then
doctor's reading
were
an
these
Oedipus
two the
complex.
ones having
when it's not.
He's
yeah,
he's
she's
he's
just
the pillow biter.
Right.
just doesn't.
The donut puncher, pillow biter.
Yeah.
With him?
No, with another guy.
All right.
With another guy,
With
yeah.
Pollard.
That's like, let's calm down on that stuff.
Yeah. Agreed.
On the nice hand. All right. The first part is quite
Professor.
humorous.
John Abbast. Pollard was the other
Pollard.
guy. Yeah.
And the Pollard is Joseph Pollard.
Yeah.
So
Which
it's,
is we didn't know about a Joseph Pollard until we ransacked this guy's place, and we know that the doctor had him committed.
all right. An adulterous relationship between the expedition chief leader and Florence Abbast.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got that.
Then a homosexual relationship that John supposedly had with his student, Joseph Pollard. Pollard,
Yeah.
Student. Okay.
Yeah.
as well as Chaz Johnston's fascination with Florence. The forest.
Yeah.
Got that.
Florence.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right.
Must.
A likely consequence of an Oedipus complex to regard. Okay. The doctor adds that he, I would think, would be still talking about Charles,
That's what I thought.
harbors a feeling of aggressiveness toward his lover and expedition chief leader.
So Chaz
Oh,
was having an affair with him.
maybe not having an affair. Maybe they were in an open
They were in a
relationship, and he was having a past, or it's
No. With him.
I'm wondering if it could be a typo.
no. Listen to what I'm saying.
Mhm.
These two are in a open relationship.
Yes, correct.
He has a relationship that is hidden or in the past with Joseph Pollard.
But Pollard's the student who is with him.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it might be a typo. I think it might be with his lover and her, or her lover, or something like that. I'm wondering if it's. I wonder if he's holding animosity towards the leader because he's the one banging his lover.
That would make sense.
You
This
think
guy's
that-
the only one who's just like, minding his business?
You think he's in a relationship? Like
he's not writing himself
you think
down.
he's having a relationship with her too?
But he wants to.
Oh,
Or
Like
maybe-
we know he wants to.
Maybe.
I see. Yes. No, Garrett is right.
That's
So
what I'm wondering.
so Chaz is so basically we think now it's saying that Chaz harbors feelings of aggressiveness toward the expedition leader because the expedition leader is the one who's actually getting to bang the woman that he wants to bang.
Sure.
Right.
We need a string board.
Right.
No, I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
Bang
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Chaz wants to be with her, but he doesn't get to be with her because she's having an affair with him. So he harbors.
Ball tied to him. While
Yeah.
he's over
Well,
here.
and the
he
thing
harbors
about it
aggressiveness
is he
towards
has
the
an
expedition
Oedipus
leader.
complex toward her, which makes him the
rival.
the weird father
Father figure,
figure.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's it. We've read.
All right, so
Well, now we gotta read
so
the-
then
now
he
we gotta
doesn't
read the
really
notes.
care what she's doing
No.
because he's in a relationship with the guy that they brought
Pollard.
The
along.
student.
With the
Well,
student.
they didn't bring him along. I don't know that they brought him along. They at least didn't feature him in the picture, right?
So
Yeah, but he's not part of the. He's like they also don't have the Sherpas and all the
Right.
people.
So, but we don't know if he was there along.
At what point do we start chanting Jerry?
Yes, we're deep into that.
Okay, so I think we now need to read
Okay, so
the
then-
doctor's notes on
Yeah.
Um,
What the
Pollard, and then
Yes.
I think we're going to have to go talk to Pollard.
that's
Mhm.
I agree with that.
Yes. And I think like the thing to think about here is at that party, Charles is drinking. What were the abbess doing?
They weren't listed.
They
But
weren't
didn't-
listed. They weren't even there.
And according to that,
They may not have been.
Chaz
No,
has
no,
got,
they were there. They
Chaz
just-
has got animosity towards that.
well, towards the expedition.
Yeah,
Right.
but also towards that statue, doesn't
Let's
he?
write the names of everybody. So
Why would he have animosity?
If you look on the
It's
other
on the
side,
bottom of
yeah,
it.
it's on the
Oh,
bottom
okay.
of the picture.
It has them in
But I
order.
like the idea.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Well, the doctor is the one who discusses at length the phallic aspect of the jade statue and its probable function system of primitive fertility rights.
Right.
I don't know that that says anything about Chaz's opinion.
It's not
about
Chaz.
that.
Yeah, it's not Chaz.
I think the doctor has a fascination of that, and he's assigning Oedipus or
Yeah,
Oedipus
I think he's
complexes
seen Oedipus complexes
where
where
they
they
don't
don't need to
exist.
exist.
I think
Yeah.
I agree with that. He's overanalyzing,
Yeah.
but it's at least I think that the relationships are there.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So here we go.
Let's hear the.
Here's the
analysis.
phases of what this is what then follows a clinical study of Joseph Pollard's behavior. So this is the behavior of the student that Shellam got committed, who was the secret sexual lover of his teacher, Mr.
Avis.
Avis. Okay. All right, phase one.
think I need a
Total-
cookie with all this Mickey talk.
Yep.
Total mutism, stasis. Stopped feeding himself. Accepts food and water when presented like a child. Interviews and medication. Okay. Phase 2. Remission of phase 1 physiological symptoms. Has resumed speaking, regressive state. Asks lots of questions. Motor skills disability, dangerous to himself. Has started to read everything, calendar, dictionary, etc. Uninterrupted streams of questions. Mental block. The sedatives seem to ease his condition for a few hours. Gradual improvement of his motor skills. Interviews and medication. Phase 3. He suffers from dementia.
And he's a student.
Yeah, but dementia just means people aren't believing shit he's saying,
That's
Right.
true. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then we have over here, Dr. A letter on May 6th.
I bet that
So-
dementia's statue induced.
So May 6th, 1929, which is that
2 days before.
2 days before. In my capacity as a psychoanalyst, I hereby certify that Mr. Joseph Pollard, aged 21, is not mentally capable of consenting to his voluntary commitment. I have observed that his current mental disorders represent a danger to himself, require immediate and constant medical supervision. According to the law, all the medical conditions are met. I request that Mr. Joseph Pollard be immediately committed to a psychiatric facility. This is
It was
why.
Shellum. He did it. He's trying to hide the guy that knows the truth.
Yeah, but the thing is this set definitely in the Cthulhu kind of?
Yes.
Because here's the thing, insanity is always like a sign of having touched some kind of.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
why I was like, it's that
Yeah.
dementia is
Yeah.
freaking statue related.
Like all of
Yeah.
that is that a elder, what do they call,
The elder gods and
has they've seen.
Yeah. Typically,
They've
the
seen
college,
things.
the
They've seen
21-year-old college student doesn't just all of a sudden get dementia halfway through.
Right,
Yeah.
right. They looked into the mirror, and the
Mhm.
and the image that was in the mirror was that of the yellow god.
There's a
And he wanted to be an actor.
there's a Smosh cast member, and they do, try not to laugh challenges, whatever. But one of his recurring characters is this character who's kind of like an aged, former hippie, and he just goes, I was there, man. I've seen things.
Mhm.
It's just I've seen
The
things.
dude abides.
What's the doctor's name?
George
Shellum?
A shell.
Georg.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The one who received the guy.
Shellum.
No, not Shellum.
No, there's
What?
The one who received him to the psychiatric
Oh.
hospital.
They don't tell us who
They don't
received
tell.
them.
Hey, is it not on the upper
No,
letter?
No.
That's
This is
his name and his name.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
That's
okay.
just his
letterhead.
letterhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's of no consequence.
So we
Well,
just
Which means
I was
which
hoping
means
to
it's of
interview,
real
though.
no consequence.
no. I think we can
I was
interview
hoping-
him at the asylum. We just have to go.
Is
to the
Pollard
asylum.
on
That's
the
what I was
list?
trying to find the asylum.
Because what we ran across when we investigated, one of the first things we ran across
Would it be
was
under health?
an involuntary
Pollard.
commitment. Oh, you found the order for Joseph Pollard's involuntary commitment drafted by Dr. Shellum and dated the day before the expedition's return to Boston.
So he was
So-
on the expedition.
Why would he be on the expedition?
Well, I think Don was right. Like,
Oh, because
they-
these
they
notes were
helpers
taken
and
during
things
the
like that.
expedition.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
okay.
He
So
basically, when they got back, he
They-
committed him.
Staff and crew
Yeah,
or
okay.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, after he
Which
had too
also
much
gives him
contact with that
access.
statue.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
so
there's
we-
something in the statue and he's the one that grabbed it,
Probably.
ran with it, or
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm
Well,
young, I can carry this.
Did a 7-foot tall statue?
Yeah,
The woman-
But there was no other
Six and a half.
information
6 foot.
about which
Yeah.
asylum or anything.
I hopefully there's only one asylum in Boston. How many crazies do they have?
We have
It's Boston.
Yeah.
Arkham Sanatorium.
That would probably be it.
Oddly enough, no, it is not.
Is that funded by
That's an
Bruce
art.
Wayne?
Oh, okay.
Oddly enough, my great grandmother was committed in Boston.
Oh, wow.
Did she know Paula?
Well, here's an interesting thing. My grandmother was born in 1929.
Okay.
So she could very well have known
So
Paula.
yeah.
Interesting.
You might be part fish god. Is that what you're saying?
I might be part. Yeah.
And she had red hair, right?
You know who else was? You know
gosh.
who else was born in 1929? Well, Whitey Bulger.
There you go.
Yeah. The mafia murderer guy.
Mm-hmm.
Recently
Recently played by Johnny Depp, although I don't know how recent that was.
Yeah, I think he's probably other people have played him.
Since then, yeah.
Okay.
I have like St. Elizabeth's Medical Center, St. Mary's Hospital. I don't see anything called out as like.
So we don't have a Pollard
sanatorium
location
necessarily.
on there.
No.
I really want one though.
Can I-
Yeah,
Look at
exactly.
that letter.
Well, if he's at
think
the
finding
asylum, but you said there's multiple asylums.
Well,
No, I'm
I-
trying to get back.
I see the Arkham
I'd like to read
Sanatorium,
the Pollard.
but I don't
I know,
see
I'm
anything
trying to
else
get back to that.
specifically
Oh, you have it
listed
open?
as.
I know, and I don't.
38.
Hospital.
No, wait.
Like some are just hospitals
Oh,
and there's a bunch
page
of
38.
doctors.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar, but I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
if
yeah.
that's right.
You're right.
Yeah, I think trying to find him to either talk to his doctor or to him if we can actually interview him.
I want to talk to
So we can
Paula.
hear
I
his
just don't know how to
story.
go about it.
Exactly. But yeah, hearing his story seems important. And that seems different from like, even if he's going crazy because of the statue, we still don't know what happened to the statue, but maybe that'll give more context as to who else is involved with the statue. And who shot the doctor. Like that's different. Like that's some other
Yeah, I mean,
possibly related motive.
may not be the same person that shot the sheriff.
You're right, right.
Oh my goodness. No, there was a Joseph Pollard in this list.
All I know is whoever shot the sheriff didn't shoot the guy.
Because I remember seeing it
Oh,
and
there was
saying,
one.
hey, that's a real person. That's a person in here.
Oh, okay.
Look under people, look up Pollard.
Yeah, but if he's committed, he's going to be there. Well, it was a
Joseph
draft.
Pollard, 1SW.
Oh, okay.
One
We can-
SW.
We can try it and just see if 1001 SW is a thing.
Southeast SW, so this is here.
But this would be we're trying to. Do we want to try to interview or
No,
investigate?
I'm wondering if this is a house or if it's a residence and he's been committed, it feels like we should, if we want to go there, investigate.
Right.
Maybe that will lead us to where he was committed.
Well, maybe there's stuff in his house that
Yeah.
include maybe
Crazy-
he has a journal.
Crazy ramblings on his walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pictures of himself with
I like
With
the
the
statues,
statues,
covered in-
yeah.
himself and Abbast naked
A bunch of
on the
scribbled,
statue.
1,000 drawings of the statue everywhere, progressively getting more degraded.
Maybe there's a clay
black
statue.
circles just
Yeah.
everywhere. Just
Yeah.
Maybe he's
Okay,
created
let's
it
go there.
like Devil's Tower.
Yeah.
okay. So Southwest, you said
1001.
Somebody did say
Southwest.
something about phallic earlier, so.
Yeah, I think. No, it's short.
That's what she
you
said.
spend the day surveilling the
There
numbers and
you
going
We're back on it.
in front of Alicia Green's boarding house, but do not detect any suspicious activity. No one comes to visit Joseph Pollard, who is clearly away.
Okay.
Because that was a waste.
Well,
Yeah.
why
What are
did
you
it
talking
not
about?
let
We
us
never
in?
did anything.
Why did it not let us in?
I think.
But if we,
Well, there goes our 3 extras.
but if
Yeah.
if we interview, because it's a boarding house, maybe the
No,
person can
it
tell us
says
where
he's
Pollard was
away.
sent to.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Maybe.
Yeah, but if it's a boarding house, is there not a person who runs the boarding house?
Maybe.
What-
So there's tons
if
of
you look-
hospitals
Yeah.
and a sanatorium, but there's also St. Elizabeth's Medical Center. It's the only one that doesn't say hospital. I'm like, is that potentially we could look it up. I don't know if they would
Maybe.
go off of history or not. But
And if could I look at the stationery again? Like in the signature, can we glean any information about who signed it? Because we have a list of some
38
doctors.
39.
The person who's Shellum is signed. Dr. Shellum, Dr. Shellum.
Oh,
There's nothing more to clean.
Yeah, but just because
Okay.
Dr. Schelling says let's get him committed doesn't mean he's going to actually be committed.
Well, apparently he
Yeah.
is because we went to talk to him and he's been away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean he's committed.
Yeah, I was
He's
hoping it was a correspondence
just
between
trial.
whoever was receiving him. But
I
it's
guess
just
it's a
his.
teacher
No,
hospital.
it's not. It's just
Gotcha.
his letterhead. He wrote this. He signed it.
Then,
And
Well,
but
well,
this is
he-
a draft. So
okay, so
So-
he might have sent a different version, right?
Him and John
We
could have
did
taken the statue and run away.
EC, correct?
Yeah, or maybe he
Yeah.
was never committed. Maybe
well, we did 1001.
maybe he's
Well, we
off
did
doing
that-
crazy
no, I
things
thought
in the city.
We did one. That was City Hall. That would have been before.
Or maybe.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Maybe
yeah, we did.
the doctor-
We did 1001. Whatever.
saw him going
his-
nuts.
What we just
Took
did
him
1001
out, and then
somewhere.
John
Or-
found out.
Southwest. We did Southwest.
So maybe John, the doctor took out Pollard because he was going nuts and causing issues. John found out that the doctor took him out, and John killed the doctor.
Do we talk to John now?
The
Because
sanatorium. The sanatorium would be the
St. Mary's?
no,
Or,
the mental hospital.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It is a fictional institution in the town of Arkham created by H.P. Lovecraft
Yeah, but
for the treatment of mentally ill.
Would he have
for
sent
ominous
him-
presence and connection to the Lovecraftian mythos.
And it was listed as an out of map extra
Yes.
site, whatever they call
oh
it.
yeah, it is.
The E
ELS.
whatever ELS, yeah.
Yes, ELS. 621 ELS.
We can see if there's a
Uh,
1,621.
we could. We could also look at City Hall again and see if we get any other information.
That's what
by-
I'm doing right now. I'm
You are?
reading that
Okay.
paragraph.
Well, I mean, with the 1,000
Oh.
potentially. See if we gain any information about. I don't know, evidence. like
Yeah, post the
yeah,
doctor's death.
yeah.
I kind of want to just talk to his lover. I mean, if we're trying to locate Pollard, I want to talk to his lover.
I guess that's a way we could get a story too. Yeah, find
Yeah.
out if what
I mean,
his
he-
role was on the expedition.
Whether he even will acknowledge the existence of Pollard, or if Pollard was being committed on behalf of Mr. Abbas or whatever to just get him out of the way,
Yeah,
like, illegitimately.
yeah.
But if he says, oh,
Oh,
my good friend Pollard and the doctor, committed him against my wishes, blah, blah, blah.
And
And
he might also
or
be able
try
to
to
give
commit him, and so I've
information
I've-
about
I've
like
stowed
acting
him,
weird.
stowed him somewhere.
Yeah.
So we could investigate him instead of interviewing him.
I mean, I'd be okay interviewing because we might get a story about like what his role was on the expedition if he was the one who hoisted it out of the hole or whatever, however they stole it.
I would also.
I think it's safe to assume that though, right off the
I
gate.
think
He's
so.
the
I
only
also
one
would
showing mental signs.
I think so.
Yeah,
that's
I would
true.
also say that she is of value.
Who?
The wife.
We don't know how to talk to her, though.
She's at the studio. She has a
She has a
studio.
Yeah, but we
studio.
don't know the address.
I thought we had that.
No.
Not the address for the studio.
We were just
they
given
mentioned
studio.
that there's but she's more likely at her studio. But I don't think we know what
So
studio.
it just
We
implies
might
if
have
we
to-
go to their home address, we might only be talking to him and not her.
Yeah,
But
he
but
might
it
give
just
us
said-
information about.
Well,
the
then
studio.
if that's the clue, then I would lean that direction. But
Is there a 1,000?
all right, looking at these people, this is what we've got. He is just going to talk about himself.
Yeah.
He is
Well, he
giving
already
us.
has,
He's
yeah.
dead.
He's
He's giving
dead.
us
Yeah.
information that he can. This guy is just mumbly and drunk and gave us no information.
Yeah.
So we really have the husband-wife team. Well, we don't know how to get a hold of her.
And Pollard is still potentially an option at the asylum.
Yeah,
If we knew how to get to this.
I don't.
Are we
think-
not able to access it even if we know the number?
We could.
We have
could
to have
try-
the map?
No,
we can
no,
try
no.
Arkham
We have a
Asylum.
number.
Because I'm saying Arkham Asylum gives us
It's
a
not
number.
in here.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
Oh.
ELS. ELS?
Yeah, ELS is, but not that number.
But not
ELS.
1621.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So then-
I just looked.
I wish we'd have known that before we went to his
Flipping
house.
through.
'Cause I would have said,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't count against
Yeah,
us
so
if it
no
doesn't exist.
1621, no in the ELS. There's no 16. There's no 1016 or 621. There's no.
Oh.
There was no way to go to
Okay,
Arkham
all right, fair.
Asylum in this book.
There's also a Boston Medical Examiner. If we're going back to like maybe
But
reinvestigate
my
the city
vote
hall.
would be to like either talk to or investigate this dude. I'm fine either way. Either investigate him because we think he's going to be sus, because maybe he's hiding Pollard,
Right.
to keep him from being committed, and he really is in love with this.
That still doesn't tell us, lead us any closer to who stole that.
But I think talking to Pollard is what's going to get us further.
Right. I don't think we're going to get to talk to Pollard. I think we're going to talk to the
To
lover
John,
who said,
yeah.
let's go do it. The Pollard just was the grab the other end person. The
Probably.
decision
Yeah.
making is one of these.
Right.
So I think he's.
So we got better, but then we're back to, do we talk to him because he's going
I-
to give us
I-
true information, or are we going to investigate him because he's going to be sus?
I think I would talk.
I would talk.
I'm okay either way. Yeah.
All right, so
Sounds
I say beat the brakes off of him until he talks.
Well, that's not an option, apparently. Of course, that's what we would do. We would go in, guns
That's
ablazing.
John Abbott, 27
Leonard would get
ELS.
his knee and
So
put it on his throat.
1027.
No,
ELS.
we wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that?
No.
Wait,
Until we talk.
That's against policy.
okay,
Both
John.
knees.
But so beating the brakes off of them.
Okay, John Abbas opens the door to his little house. After offering you a coffee, he quickly confides, "Poor George, I miss him. Thanks to him, we were able to return home safe and sound. No matter what Arthur says, the expedition went really badly. Joseph fell ill when Arthur and Johnston returned with that abominable statue. Everyone focused on it instead of him. Even me, to my great shame. So Joseph Paul.
Yes.
The rigors of the Arctic made us lose our heads. It was as if we had lost all sense of reality. It could have ended even worse. A lot of us could have cracked like Pollard. Fortunately, George was there and remained cool-headed. Otherwise, the poor kid would have probably left this world. He wouldn't eat or drink and stayed inert in his cabin all the time. This incident turned out to be a real nightmare. No, my spouse isn't here. She spends all of her time in her studio. You thank John Abbas for his testimony and take your leave."
You don't give any other information about her studio?
Hmm.
Yeah, they gave us nothing new.
Wait a minute.
I do.
What's her name again?
I do. What is that 40? What's that 45 ELS?
Wait, what?
What's that 45 ELS?
I don't know that we're going to be able to find
Yeah,
that easy.
that's a.
It's not how it's cross-reference.
No. Hold on just a second though.
Read the whole thing.
What's her first name?
Florence.
Florence. You
In the
said that.
machine. Why do you have 45? Because you accidentally saw something?
There we go. I found her studio. It's at 6 Southwest.
Nice.
What is
Abbas Photography and Development Studio.
Oh, yes.
So 6 Southwest if we want to go talk to her.
So
I like.
Yeah. Talk and I think talking first would be good, but especially with the photography studio, this could be interesting for investigate because we might be getting access to some photographs and negatives that.
Here is
that she
my
might not talk
inclination. We've got one dead body.
So far.
Mhm.
Yep.
I feel like one of these people, her or Pollard, are going to be murdered.
Possible.
Because so far we got a lot of live people.
Yeah.
Or there's another murder being about to be introduced. Because that's kind of thematically, there's a lot of like people going crazy. People getting killed.
The just FYI, 45 ELS is the Boston State Hospital.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Oh.
Thank you. We were,
And you just happen to wonder what that is.
Yes.
Okay. Did you not wonder enough to like decide if it's something we should not go to?
No. I was just
We
curious.
don't have that information.
just curious, the guy with the book.
Well, it does follow your like what do you
Can we find the hospitals where Pollard
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
committed?
Right.
I'm all right with the studio.
There is a way to talk to Pollard. I'm interested in that as well. But
Oh yeah.
how many leads do we have left?
Talk though? Is he going to talk?
Yeah, where are we?
How many leads do we have left?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're at 7 out of 13.
I've got 6. Got plenty.
So we could.
And we don't know. All we know is that we are. Have to say who.
We'll have
Find the statue.
3 leads that we can send a team to.
Identify the culprits.
Yeah. We have to. What happened in
How do we
statute?
know that?
We
When
won't-
do we get that option?
We won't quite answer it directly, but at the end of the game we pick 3 locations to send the team to.
Yeah, but where does that
To
implement?
retrieve
Where
it.
does that come?
In the back of the book, it'll be
To
separate
retrieve the
paragraphs.
statue.
Or anything else.
Okay.
Like sometimes
Just
there might be some-
whatever
the most
whatever
important.
the locations are where we need to send backup
We
for
have
appropriate
not.
things to be done.
Okay, what we have also not hit at all is the esoteric order of Dagon.
Right.
Like we have not seen a single piece of
Yeah, nothing
information to
leading
that.
us there.
Right. Because it's find the statue and more importantly identify the more important than finding the statue, identify the culprits and the possible links they have with the esoteric order of Dagon.
Who is the Order of Dagon? What is it?
It's the esoteric order of Dagon.
Dagon is in most
What a
HP
big
stuff
clue.
is from the
It's
beast.
it's the cult that's
So-
trying to bring the elder
Uh-huh.
elder gods back.
Right.
Gotcha.
So that's a water
They're
creature
saying
statue.
it's-
So Dagon would probably be related.
Yeah, so it is of the utmost importance to determine whether any hidden branches of the order survived our operation in Innsmouth. So the operation in Innsmouth would be the whole we blew up a building, right?
Possibly, yes.
So they want our bosses are like, we need to know if this is because of the esoteric
well
order of
then-
Dagon. Did they
then-
live?
Go back to the beginning and talk to the guy that's mad at the FBI.
Yeah.
Is there an Isaac Goodman in the list?
Yes.
So Isaac Goodman is a representative who held a press conference deploring the silence of the federal authorities into the circumstances of the raids and arrests carried out by the state and its erratic crusade against contraband alcohol, blah, 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 in a bid to hold the federal government and its BOI henchmen accountable.
Yeah, nothing in there.
Who's
kinda-
burning an explosive demolishing of the name of the American people. So he's basically speaking out
Because
against what happened in Innsmouth.
because what we did
By
in
the
Innsmouth,
BOI.
the BOI, in Innsmouth tried to wipe out the esoteric order of Dagon because we're good guys and they're bad guys. But we covered it up as an alcohol,
Right.
drugs, sting thing.
And Goodman could be a
shill for the order.
the order. Yeah, he could basically be, this isn't fair, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But he's really trying to make them stop investigating the
Right.
order.
That could be.
Well, that's 3 different avenues.
We could talk to
out of 6
her.
clues.
We could, if we talk to the wife.
Is there a hand?
We haven't done it.
Because
we
I've
haven't
been
done a
told.
single investigation, and I don't know. If
No,
we're
we
not,
did, but it was terrible.
Oh.
No, we got a lot of information on investigating the doctor.
Oh, that's where he was
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That
investigating
was
the doctor's
investigation.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could talk to the wife, and she might actually tell us where Joseph Pollard is.
Yeah.
Like she might bring it up. Because she might,
Oh, you mean the guy my husband's banging?
Yeah.
Right.
Or or not. Like, she could be a good lead or not.
Going to her.
Um,
What we do there, I don't know.
or we
We take some photos.
or we can talk.
We could steal her photo.
Did we determine that we're able to talk to the investigating officer who is leading the investigation of the statue?
Is there an option to secretly hire her to take pictures while we watch her and invest? Like, is that like they do in the movies? She takes pictures and we're just fake clients. It's a secret.
Yeah, Inspector John Arone
So we could
investigated the burglary, so we could question.
We could interview him.
Mm-hmm.
We could interview this guy who's unhappy about our Innsmouth operation for trying to track down the lead to the esoteric order of Dagon.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if we really have any other real leads.
We could interview Chaz Johnson again after he finds out the doctor is dead.
We could do that.
Right.
And there's still the potential for Pollard. No, we nixed that, right?
We know that Chaz is aggressive towards the expedition leader. I don't think we're going to get any good info out of the expedition leader because he's a glory hound that's going to cover his own ass.
And he's a jerk to everybody.
I still think Kelly, we can investigate his house. I think he's got it, but I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. So I've got those written down. So I've got Inspector John Arone, Chaz post murder, Calvert. So we could still talk to the guy guarding the security guard. The medical examiner after the murder, the city hall again after the murder. Both of those could be looking for evidence as to who did the murder. The trucking company to see if that's related at all to the heist. Yeah. Isaac Goodman. I did not write.
What was the trucking company's name again?
I think there's only one listed.
It's the very last one in the directory.
Yeah, and it should be the same as in the newspaper.
So
I forgot what Isaac Goodman's story is.
We have a public
he's
holiday.
the one that is speaking out about
yes.
the raid.
Oh, damn. Emerson Trucking's got to be making a killing. They're the only game in town.
Yeah, that would be, I think, more of an investigate rather than an interview.
I think so. Yeah, Isaac Goodman. Trucking against the raid.
I would lean towards talking to her just so that we can say that we've talked to everybody.
It seems like a lot of
Who did
people
the
are leaning
expedition.
towards that. So I say we just do that and knock it out, and then we can go from there.
Okay, so who's she?
6 Southwest, I believe. That was the photography studio.
Don, we're talking to Chicky Boo.
6 Southwest.
All right, get it.
So 1,006.
1006.
So everybody had Monday off in Australia.
Okay.
Nice.
Public holiday.
When you arrive, the door to the laboratory.
What was it, like Crocodile Dundee Day or something?
King's birthday.
Okay. When you arrive, the door to the laboratory is ajar. On the floor, you immediately see Florence Abbas' body.
Oh,
A pool of blood caused by the wound to her skull forms a halo around her head.
I didn't want her to die.
You immediately call the police to send reinforcements and the medical examiner. Later that evening, you are informed that the Bureau, upon learning of the new developments, has granted you an additional 3 days.
okay.
Good.
That is good.
You're welcome.
You're also welcome for finding it.
If you wish, this is getting complicated. If you wish, you can conduct one last interview, not an investigation, before the news of Florence Abbas' death spreads. Consequently, add 2,000 to the addresses you wish to visit.
Yeah, it's an Agatha Christie. Everybody's getting picked up.
So
if we just keep going, by midnight there'll be one left.
Right.
yeah,
And we'll know.
I've watched at least 4 different adaptations of the 10 Little Indians, and then there was none. It goes by different names.
Yeah.
They're all good. I like all. I like that story all over again because they just put in different settings. Anyway,
So we found her body. We get one more investigation if
Three
we
more.
so choose.
One more interview.
Sorry, interview.
Pre-knowledge of her death interview,
Gotcha.
if we so choose.
We have 16 leads total so far.
I don't know who else to interview pre-knowledge of her death unless we're going to go to the 1000 series of Chaz, right?
I think we should do that.
Or we could just skip it.
It's free though, right?
No, it's not free.
Oh, I thought it said one free.
No. We
It
just
still
have
counts.
we have one opportunity to do one more
Okay.
1000 series, and then I'll do only 2000.
All right, I'm gonna guess that is there in case we haven't talked to her husband.
That's my guess.
We have.
Because he did say she spent all her time there, and obviously he knows something's wrong if she hasn't come home at all.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is so we got one answer out of him. The other answer will be him now having to deal with her death, or
Right.
either it's affecting him or he has to cover it up.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna guess that it's inconsequential to him.
Probably.
I would
He's either gonna, like you said, he's either gonna make up a story or act all butthurt.
Or maybe he is, because hey, if you've got a wife that will take care of you and do things, and you can go have your game.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we do the 1000 series of the Expedition Leader. The reason being is that he might be like when he
Upset about George.
he might talk about Shellum's death, and he might bring up Pollard and where Pollard was committed.
So motive.
Like the same reason why
Which
we
is
went
what
to
you guys
her.
go
Maybe
He's
he will
dead,
do
she's
it.
dead.
I don't know that
He was
Chaz
gonna commit
was
his
involved. I don't think
Mhm.
Chaz would have knowledge of where
She's in the way.
Pollard was
Yeah,
committed,
not
but
necessarily.
Expedition
Having
Leader
an affair.
was
He's
kind
just
of-
a drunken fool. The other guy.
Yeah.
would be, I think, more inclined to be
Yeah.
in the loop with the doctor than.
But why?
I think
her
Chaz is
him?
less in the loop with the
Oh, but
doctor than
he's
an
got a
expedition.
lot.
Yeah.
Right, so take her
I
out.
could see that. I could see that as a
Yeah.
potential use. Post 1000, so
How-
at the
why
2000
steal
series,
Yeah.
I'd be interested in
Why steal
investigating the crime scene.
Yeah.
So
Her
2006.
studio,
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
it might be worth talking to the guy who's all freaked out about how we investigated the legend, because maybe if it's his motive to kill them, we're just saying, so like, he kills this guy because he was going to commit his lover, kills her because he's in the way of love, she's in the way of lover / having that relationship. Maybe he steals it because it affected him and he knows that, and he's trying to figure out a way to
Getting back.
get him back or
Yeah.
go to him
Yep.
mentally or something.
What was all that logic?
So, just for motive and stuff like that, like he's killer, right? Kills him because he's going to commit his lover.
I think
Kills-
he has committed his lover.
Yeah. Kills her because she's in the way of his lover / having a romantic relationship with him.
Okay.
Okay, so
then talking to the guy who's upset in the newspaper, maybe he's trying to.
But do we need to talk to him prior to the knowledge of her death coming out? Because I don't think
No.
the guy in
No,
the
I
newspaper is
don't know
going
that. I'm just
to
saying
say
in general. I'm trying
anything,
to
care
get
at all about her.
Well,
Trying
okay,
to-
but
a
trying to-
then,
series of events that
assign
might lead
motive.
to
but then
the
let me just.
Yeah.
I like some of what you're saying, but let me go back to this. So he said, "Oh, poor Joseph. Poor Pollard. He's been affected by this, and we just got out
In
of
that
there."
abominable statue. So
Yeah,
he-
the statue, blah, blah, blah. So the thing is he's either out and out lying, which doesn't usually follow these kind of things. I'm metagaming a little bit. It usually doesn't quite follow, unless they're like, you must pay the rent sort of
Right,
lie. It's
right.
rarely oh, that kid, I really like that kid, and it's a shame that that's happened to him. Other than he's covering up his relationship, he's not like throwing somebody under the like if he did the murder, and that's the thing, then he would have sent us on a wild goose chase or sent us in a new direction. But because he just said, "Oh, this is terrible," and he mentioned his wife,
Right.
which led us to his wife. so that we found the thing.
Right. So if we had,
So I kind of feel like he's not.
yeah, I'm not really buying it.
I don't think we need to see anybody with this not free one, but pre.
I'm voting for him pre.
That's who we talked to.
No, the
we spoke to him
expedition-
at the very beginning.
Oh, the expedition leader.
I want to talk to the expedition leader in the 1000 series. Because what I was discussing with Garrett is because I think he would be more tightly in the loop with the doctor.
Yeah.
So he might react to the doctor's
Okay.
death and give us information about Pollard.
Then my thing on that is if we don't get exactly what you want, we don't ever come back to them.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
So we got to go to that hotel again.
I think, yeah, so it should be 1005
1005. What?
WC.
Okay.
Water closet. That means bathroom.
Yes. Okay. How terrible. Dr. Shellham was a remarkable man of great work, both as a human being and as a scientist. His passing is a tragedy for all of us on the expedition team. We lived together for months. We were like family, sharing the joys and hardships of the Arctic. Moved by his own recollection of a dear friend, Professor Jennings pauses a moment before resuming. I have fond memories of the long talks he and I would have in the evenings on the ship's deck, despite the illness that had taken hold of poor Joseph Pollard's mind. Dr. Shellham remained remarkably consistent. During our journey back to Boston, he would stay in his cabin for days at a time. I would go check on him, fearing that fatigue and despondency would get the better of him, but I would always find him with his nose buried in his books. He was doing almost too well and kept questioning me about my childhood and my parents. He was entirely devoted to his passion for psychoanalysis. He was truly irreplaceable, and his death casts a fatal veil over the expedition of which we are so proud, far more than the theft of the statue, however priceless it may be. So I did not kill him. So.
My vote would be 2006 WS. Sorry.
So just investigate
Which
the
is-
crime scene of her death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What can we glean from her death?
Right.
Is that everybody fine with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Investigating the crime scene of the death. Now, when
Well,
you said
could
W,
we go back and
2006
find if there
SW.
is a 3,000 or 4,000 with the guy we were talking about?
SW.
That'd be
2006
silly, John.
SW.
What is it, 2000?
6?
2006. Yeah.
The door
That's
to
small.
the laboratory is closed and the police seals prohibit you from entering. An officer is on duty. On the side, you count a good dozen of colorful bouquets arranged around a portrait of Florence Abbess smiling. Half a dozen photographers bombard Professor Jennings as he comes to lay a wreath of flowers and pay his respects in front of the portrait of the expedition photographer. The silence is punctuated only by the crackling of flashbulbs.
Dang.
Oh, that was a waste.
Yeah, Garrett, how
Yeah.
dare you waste one guy?
Wait, why are the police keeping us? Aren't we?
Right.
part of the
Aren't we?
police?
Yeah.
Exactly. We
What? So
We are
what
the
left? How many do we have left?
we have 16 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 6
Six
left.
left.
Which is where we were a couple of leads
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, and we earn 3 with every death. So who
I
else
am
can we go to?
somewhat-
Yeah, exactly.
I am somewhat interested in this guy Goodman.
The ranting and raving
Okay.
guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I've been saying. I just feel like there might be something there for him to single one of them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's accusing the government of doing something. So
I just really want to find Pollard, but that's just me.
Well, I do too, but I think we've established we don't know where the hell he is. Unless you said whatever. Okay, he looked ahead at something.
He
probably,
looked at
so-
something, but here's the thing: it didn't say, "Oh, he has the answer."
No.
And you
I didn't read it. I just saw that. Oh, the next entry after what I just read
and was it
like
a long one, or was it a short one?
it was like
Then it's
It was
not
long
enough
enough.
information. No, I don't think there is a long enough. I think it has to be a full.
2002
I want a freaking wraparound
Northwest.
paragraph.
it's what
2002 Northwest is Isaac Goodman.
2002. Okay. Goodman welcomes you eagerly. After he closes the door to his office, the passionate intensity of his voice makes it clear that he considers you all to be lackeys of a conspiratorial government. Did you really come to sell me your lies and nonsense, or to silence me under the guise of military secrecy as you have with so many other honest citizens of this country? These were the methods you used in Innsmouth, weren't they? Or are you here because of the interview I gave to the press? The masterminds who give you your marching orders feel that their impunity is in danger, I suppose. Tell them that Isaac Goodman is not a man to be so easily intimidated. You are unable to obtain anything conclusive from the dialogue that follows. The elected representative makes no connection between the theft of the statue, which he seems to disregard, and the events of Innsmouth. He is counting on the police to shed light on the gruesome murders and wonders if all of this is just another one of DOI's grand manipulations.
I wonder if we should have investigated him instead of interviewing him.
Yeah,
I think that might be a dead road.
I feel like we.
Well, we could still investigate him if you want to.
No,
I don't know that I don't have enough to say that's what we should do.
Especially with two bodies now, I'm still wondering about the medical examiner. I don't know if they would be able to tell us if there were any signs of struggle for either one, because that might help narrow it down whether it was a surprise or attack from behind.
We were told that the medical examiner arrived on the scene, so we do have a reason to go talk to the medical examiner if we want.
And I also go back to your very early on point.
Kelly's house.
Not Kelly.
No,
The trucking.
truck driver.
Oh,
The trucking
company.
Yeah.
I don't know what lead it is, but the truck. So look, there's so much information on this page.
Yeah.
Some of which is a red herring.
Right.
The one we just went through is a red herring. So theoretically, the other one is likely to give us some, if we get the right.
Oh, well, we need to go to
the zoo?
Franklin Park Zoo.
Because that might give us
Polar bears.
information about the Inuits. Yeah.
Yes.
I thought the same thing.
Okay, so you want to investigate units and trucks?
I don't know what to investigate in there, but I feel like that route was a strong route, and I think Jason's
Let's do
point
it.
was how else would it get moved?
Yeah, well, I agree. If it's going to be conventionally stolen, how else would it get there?
Yeah.
So can we just so we're going to investigate this in the 2000 series? So where was that?
I think so. That is 10. Yeah, so 2010 SE.
2010 SE.
In the investigate or in the?
Yeah, in the investigate. I would have noticed eventually. I would have gotten there. It was 2010, you said?
Yes.
Okay. After nightfall, you sneak into the offices of the Emerson Trucks Transportation Company. Against all odds, you find the rental logbook. After having a good laugh at the incompetence of the local police, you thumb through it. It is well kept, but the names in it are rather peculiar. See below. Ooh. The only truck rented out on the evening of the burglary was checked out at 4:30 p.m. by Mr. Whitehair. It was his first time renting a vehicle here. You inspect the surroundings and soon find the truck parked across from the rental company. An inspection of the vehicle does not provide you further information. But, so if we go here,
There are jade shavings.
so you've got a Mr. Smooth Talker, Mr. Sturdy, and Mr. Henchman,
Oh my gosh.
Mr. Short, Mr. Lefty, Mr. Red, Mr. Squinty, Mr. Smooth Talker again, Mr. Stalwart, Mr. Red again, Mr. Squinty again, Mr. Hinchman again, Mr. Lefty again, Mr. Short again, Mr. Whitehair. So this is the only time Mr. Whitehair has done it, and it was
Who's the shitty employee that's letting all these people with these names take trucks? Like, oh, Mr.
Right.
Henchman. Yeah, of course. There you go. Yeah, take
Well,
it again.
well, but or if it's just that they are the ones describing their own descriptive nicknames for anonymity sake because they provide an anonymous criminals truck rental service.
And Kelly had white hair, middle 40-something-year-old white hair.
Where did we get that?
What about
information?
the expedition leader also have white hair though? He looks
He did.
like
Yeah,
yeah.
I do.
Kelly is the
Kelly's a curator.
curator.
Had white hair.
Okay.
When we went to the museum.
Okay, so I'm okay to think that they're maybe giving us this information because it is significant. That
What's it say on the return time?
it doesn't even give a return time.
It just says
So they still
Well, actually, no. Well, maybe it 4:30 p.m. and then it's 7 May 4:30 p.m. and then it's 600. So 600 is the price. So it's going to be client, location, restitution. So the location and the restitution are Leonard.
but it says in the thing that it checked out.
Let me just take a photo of that real quick so I can.
Yeah.
So this says was checked out at 4:30 p.m. So that's 4:30 here,
Yeah, but then there was 7 May 4:30 p.m. is the next entry.
which is the
Well, when was the date of the robbery?
well the day that it was discovered. Like the newspaper is the 7th.
Okay.
8th. So,
Well,
yeah,
the
so
8th is
7th was
the
yeah.
paper. The day before.
Yeah, so 7th.
It was checked out on the evening of the burglary at 4:30.
Yeah, so 7 May
Okay,
4:30. So if they're not telling us when it was checked back in, I don't think, because this is just the same information repeated.
Unless it was taken, if it was rented May 6th at 4:30 and they returned it on the 7th at 4:30. But what time?
But the
then,
robbery
yeah, that was
robbery
that night,
happened
yeah.
that night.
Right. So
But did it happen the night between the 6th and the 7th, or did it happen between the night between? The 6th
Yeah,
and
I
the
think
good
I
point.
get the impression that it got stolen on the night of the 6th, and then discovered on the 7th, and then announced on the 8th
Right.
on
Yeah.
the paper.
Yeah.
Well, we've already followed the lead, so we can go back to. Well,
Yeah. 11WC is when we had the interview with William Kelly at
Yeah.
the museum.
So we can just refresh ourselves on that.
Yeah.
You see, right? Okay. Around 2 a.m. You heard a muffled. He immediately like blah 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 was displayed. Okay, and then.
that's very informative.
Just the dates.
Yeah, I know.
Batman.
How did they spell it?
Yeah, so it's unclear to me if it's 2 a.m. of the 2 a.m. of the 7th,
Right.
or if it's 2 a.m. of the 8th.
Yeah.
But it was checked back in. No, well, hang on. So this paper is dated Wednesday, May 8th, and it says here that.
Does it basically say last night?
As we go to press, we learn that a massive jade statue brought back from the North Pole was stolen overnight. So,
Okay.
So that would be
7.
that'd be 2 a.m. of the 8th.
Right. Right. I agree.
Yeah.
Because it'd be the night between the 7th and the 8th.
Yeah.
So I think the truck was checked out at 4:30 p.m. on the 7th, but we don't have a time when it was checked back in.
Right.
So that could have been
No,
the
we do
truck.
have a time that was checked back in.
because it just said 4:30.
Yeah, look at it again, but look at the previous, the one before it.
Okay, so where is it?
2000. I'm sorry. What was I saying? 2010 Southeast.
Okay, so
It says so short, May 6th at 0:30 a.m. Nothing in between slashes, and then 2:50. And it looks like it's supposed to be client location restitution.
yeah,
And
but
then
see, yeah,
So
but,
I think since the thing before was on May 6th on the takeout, it might make sense that it's May, because they certainly didn't check it out at 4:30 and return it at 4:30 the same day.
no, so that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I don't think they're being consistent, and so I think this 4:30 is just a duplication of this 4:30. I think it's checked out 4:30 to 7, but we don't know when it's checked back in. Because like the one here, it gives us a 6 May 30 a.m., but it doesn't give us any second time or date, right? They're not consistently giving us always giving us 2 date and times, or 2 times or anything.
But are they always checked out for a 24-hour period?
No, like up here, Mr. Sturdy did a 20th of April, 3 p.m., 21st of April, 9 a.m. So that in that situation, that would be a checked out at 3 p.m. on the 20th, checked in at 9 a.m. the following morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that pattern is not consistent throughout.
Are they all overnight though?
There's one April 20th, 11 p.m. to April 22nd, 10:30 a.m.
Yeah. So, like, Mr. Shorty has one date and time, does not have a second date and time, right? So either that means Mr. Shorty still has that ban, but I thought this was the law all for that one ban, right?
I don't know about that. Surely they have more than one ban.
The only,
All right. Here's what we have to do. If you really need to know the time frame,
yeah.
You need to look at the cost,
Okay.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
because the costs are all different.
Oh, okay. So the cost will tell us.
There's a 11:30 p.m. to 4:30 the next day. How many hours is that? 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. That's 5 hours. And then there is it just says 3 a.m.
So this, from 3 p.m. to 9 a.m., that is 12 plus 6.
Well, no, this doesn't make sense because there's one that's for it. That's the May 1st to 6th of May. That's $200. So it could be those are bad guys. So that doesn't actually work.
Yeah, because this is saying you can get 18 hours for 100.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. What we do know that it was returned on the 7th of May at 4:30 p.m.
Why do we know it was returned then?
Well, they wouldn't have the time. You thinking that he wrote the time twice?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's potentially, because it literally says here, it was checked out at 4:30 p.m. It literally says in the text here, the only truck rented out on the evening of the burglary was checked out at 4:30 p.m. by Mr. Whitehead.
Okay, so my question is,
to what Don's saying though is like just because I don't doubt that it was checked out at 4:30 p.m. But what day? Because
my
it
question
says
is,
the evening of the burglary.
okay.
The only truck rented out on the evening of the burglary. The evening of the burglary is going to be the 7th.
So I think it's Mr.
Was checked
Whitehair
out
that we're trying to
at
find.
4:30 p.m. So it was checked out at 4:30 p.m.
No,
the
I
evening of the
disagree.
burglary. That's what this
And they're not gonna-
says.
all right, wait a minute. Listen to me, Don. The only glass out of the whatever on the day of the event was Jason's. It's the only glass that's out on the day, meaning out, checked out on, meaning or the only book checked out means that it's out of the library, not returned at the library on that day.
Okay.
Meaning the only truck not in use was the truck from Mr. White. But either way, it does. I think we're arguing about a non-issue here. I think the
I
issue
think Mr. White is.
is Mr. White had a truck at the time that the burglary happened.
That's what I'm saying.
Is
So I don't think it was checked back in prior to the burglary. That's all I'm saying. It was checked. It was out at the time of the burglary.
So
And
how do
they
we
kind of
find a
like-
name for Mr. White? Kind of like what you were saying.
so I think we go back to this.
Maybe investigate the curator's
Yeah.
house.
Kelly's house. Yep.
We asked him questions.
We spoke to him when we went to the art gallery.
So then do we speak to him or we investigate? I think investigate.
I would
right?
say investigate.
Right, yeah.
Investigate who?
His house.
Kelly's, the curator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is right next door.
Which was, I can't remember where, was it this one?
15.
What's his name?
Kelly.
15 WC?
William F. Kelly.
William.
Yeah.
15 WC is what we have here.
So
Mhm.
2015.
I'm okay with that. I think that little
If-
tidbit of the white hair is like that little clue that you need to pick up on.
Okay. As you are surveilling William F. Kelly, two suspicious-looking individuals pay him a visit.
Oh, yeah.
Doubting that they had come to view the exhibition, you find a vantage point closer to the office open to overhear the conversation. You discern that the two men are here to get paid, but you cannot hear all of the details.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, Jason.
Okay. So that does seem sus.
That's all it says, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very sus.
But that could also be like, the game won't ever say you win. Because we have to pick 3 locations.
That's
instead of
obviously
two.
the location we're
That could
picking.
be
Yeah.
exactly.
So maybe that
that might
location,
be
the
best we
truck
get.
company, and then I don't know what else.
I don't know if we need the truck company necessarily. I mean, maybe if we don't find anything else.
The woman's house. The woman's house.
We went there.
Because we spoke to her husband.
Right.
He's the only other white hair in the room.
Oh.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
We do have 3 leads left.
So then do we investigate?
Did we investigate his room or anything?
No, we spoke to him twice.
We spoke to him, but do we know where he lives?
We do.
I
Well,
would
he's
assume
at
he lives
he's at the hotel.
Since he's at the hotel, I'd assume he
So if
doesn't
we
live
investigate,
there.
we would be telling him, and we might tell him. If
We
he's
could
being
tail
sus.
him. We could, the game will choose. It could be us rifling through his room, or it could be us tailing him, whatever seems.
Obviously, we feel good about the curator and her being involved. So aside from that, other than tailing him, do we think there's anything else worth even going through?
Maybe, if we have any ability to find out if there's cult activity, which maybe there's not.
Well,
Because if we-
I still really want to talk to Pollard. I know you guys are against it, but
All right,
I'd say
let's
no
go to that
stop.
arbitrary place that you found accidentally.
Take it away, Michael.
Yep.
What's it called?
Boston's
It-
city. There's a city hospital and a state hospital.
It's Boston State Hospital.
State Mental Hospital.
No, it's Boston State.
45 ELS.
All right, so this would be 2,000.
2045.
Are you talking to them or are you investigating? Oh, you're talking to them.
And it might be tucked to the doctors.
The nurse takes you to John Pollard's room, whom you find slumped on his bed in a lethargic state. With drool on his lips and haggard face, he slowly mumbles snippets of unintelligible sentences of which you can only catch a few words, always the same ones. Doctor, not doctor, cones, not doctor. The nurse explains that he is under the effect of a tranquilizer and that she is pessimistic about his recovery. She tells you that her patient spends a worrying amount of time looking at his fingers and trying to put them together to form a cone or something like that, she adds. So I think there's some cultish symbol that he is associating to the doctor.
Or not doctor.
Not top
Right,
hat.
right.
Sheldon, mate. Oh,
Should we investigate them and just observe them? I don't.
We're
see
down
it.
to 2.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's meant to imply that the doctor is not a real doctor,
Right.
Yeah.
but like maybe was a cultist, and so maybe he was in on bringing it back so that it could be stolen by the cult.
Mm-hmm.
But then loose ends are being tied up. People, either
But
the
it's also
Inuit are
weird-
killing the people who stole the statue from them.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Like, if it's just about a heist, why not kill off like the security guard? Why are the expedition people who I've already handed over?
But
they're not in possession anymore.
And they're not dying to mysterious things. They're just being
Right.
outright murdered by someone.
Right.
But they could be murdered by someone who has gone crazy.
For the cult or so. Yeah, exactly. It could be that. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's any businesses or anything that would have anything cone, pyramid, or whatever related in the title. I know it's far fetched, but maybe.
Yeah. The zoo doesn't have a cone.
Can you look up the address for the Esoteric Order of Dagon?
Right.
Yeah.
You just go to their offices and
Yeah.
oh wait.
So the two of them returned with
Trinity. 3 point, I don't know.
What's the full name of Trinity?
Trinity Church.
Ah, there you
Probably.
go.
Yes, it's a Trinity Church.
Oh,
It's a cover for the cult.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that no church uses Trinity in their name.
I heard they're eating flesh and drinking blood over there. Every
Probably.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the map that looks like a
Big old
distinct triangle or cone with a number specific to it?
Okay, what have we not?
You didn't even look at the map. No.
What have we not followed down?
Inspector John Arone, Chaz after the murder, Calvert, the security guard, the medical examiner, City Hall after the murder. I didn't write it down, but investigating.
Here's my pitch. Here's my pitch.
Maybe investigating.
I do think so. Even if Kelly is involved in the theft, and he's Mr. Whitehair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he hires the truck.
Right.
Security card
He
has to be.
He might be in on it. Yeah.
He can't just have been fooled into thinking the statue disappeared in 1 minute's time.
Right.
Because this is looking like it was the theft at least was a traditional theft. So you're gonna have a group of men loading this thing.
Well, was it the curator who swore that he was an upstanding person?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Exactly.
Draw attention away from your accomplice.
So I think we could investigate the security guard. Because if we talk to the security guard, he's not going to tell
No,
us the truth.
absolutely not.
I don't know if we need to though. Like, do we need to spend more leads on? I think there's a chance we might have already found
Is there
where
a
the statue
Peter
is.
Sykes?
Like, do we need to spend
Peter
more
Sykes?
just to find other guilty parties?
Where's the statue? Oh,
I
just
just thought it could be in his house.
in Kelly's house.
Maybe not. I guess that's true.
That's why
He could just be the
KES now.
mastermind. He may not have it.
Or
That's
he
true.
was someone that the cult paid to arrange for.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So that's a good point. So yeah, it may not be in his. It's probably not in his possession actually. If he was just arranging.
If there is cult involvement, then it's probably in the possession of the cult of some cultist. But who is that cultist? If Kelly is not the cultist,
Yeah.
the security guard is probably not going to be the cultist, because if the security guard was behind it, then Kelly doesn't have to be involved.
Right.
But Kelly seems to be involved. So if Kelly's involved, then the security guard had to have been like paid off or whatever
Yeah.
to look the other way.
Exactly. I don't know that we don't have that much.
But if you investigate him,
I think
he
we
might do something sus.
I think we should perhaps investigate, because there was the truck ledger which led to Kelly. Emerson's in jail. His lawyer is not. His lawyer is privy to that information.
You want to investigate the lawyer?
I'm thinking perhaps could be the diamond in the rough.
We have 2 leads left.
Yeah, we have 2 leads left. I'm wondering about investigating the hospital, like the one that we just followed the lead on for interviewing. I'm wondering about spying on them to see if
Or like seeing his
there's any-
visitors or something.
Yeah, see his visitors,
Cultists
or maybe if
into-
there's other patients or something, involved. But yeah,
I
with
wish we
only
had
2
like
leads,
2 more on top of
we
the
need
2
somebody
we've
else to
got.
die. Yeah.
Spoilers, there are 3,000, 4,000 series in the book, so I think
Yeah.
there's potential for more people to die.
So if we find the right person who is supposed to be killed next, right?
Which who's left to kill other than the security guard? The watchman.
Maybe
I guess that's
maybe
true.
the security guard will be whacked.
Yeah.
That's
to,
true.
To type of
Yeah.
research.
That I could maybe see that. Yeah, I don't think that he'd give good
Because who,
No,
else,
we
who
go-
else do we know that would
If
be
we go to
whacked?
if we go to investigate the security guard, he's likely to be whacked, and
Right.
we might get 3 more.
Because
kills.
Pollard, interesting, but he's in the hospital. We just saw him.
Right.
We've talked to him a bunch. Dead. We talked to him.
Yeah.
This guy, we didn't really have much going on.
Well, it would have to be someone in the 2000s though, too.
Right.
So it could be the expedition leader, which I don't like talking to him, but
In
could be
theory,
whacked.
Chaz could be next. Like in theory, we could go to talk. We could go to interview Chaz in the 2000 series, and he gets whacked.
right.
Because it could be whack, whack, whack.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
These 2 come back with the statue.
Well, so people who have been whacked so far are people who brought the statue back. Boom, boom. So
Yeah,
any
but
one of these 3 could be next.
Those 2 came back with the actual statue.
What do you mean?
If you in one of those sections, you guys read it out, and it said that I think it was the doctor's journals that these 2 came back with the statue.
Okay. So we could try to interview him in 2000 and see if he gets whacked, because his wife just got whacked. Or we could try to interview Chaz.
I mean,
See, I don't think Chaz and the expedition leader, they're not on the same team.
All right, here's I'm just going to address that for a minute. Let's go back to the expedition leader. He picks up a photograph and looks at it. He says, "I really like this photograph. It was taken on the deck just before weighing anchor to return to Boston. So after whatever happened there, right?
Yeah.
And we remember that Charles Chaz says, if I wasn't there, no, not Chaz. Who's this guy?
That's Chaz.
That's Chaz.
No.
Chaz says, if I wouldn't have been there, they all would have died.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the strong ties that united us throughout the expedition. Even Chaz seems calm. No, that's not what I said. Let's put this away. We got off on the wrong foot. I must admit that I was very disappointed to learn that Peter Sykes was accompanying Bird expedition to the South Pole, and I think that Chaz must have sensed it. Anyway, in hindsight, I think he wanted to prove and establish himself. But true enough, he was more of a burden on several occasions and even endangered the expedition. But that's ancient history, and I'd rather not talk about it anymore. Anyway, that's why not why you're here. At least he wasn't as much dead weight as like Pollard, John's assistant. The poor child had been sick during the whole expedition. So he basically is saying everything was fine. Even Chaz was fine. Oh, no, Chaz was a little upset. But mostly it's because he sensed that I had to replace Sykes with him. But we still got along. So there's something that he's covering up.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then I looked over the talking to him after, and all he does is reflect on the good of the doctor. So there's a part of me that says he's hiding something, but he's not going to give us that information.
No, we'd have to
not talked to
investigate.
Peter.
We look, there's no Peter Sykes. Peter
Oh.
Sykes, I think, was the person that Chaz replaces.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sykes went with Bird to the South Pole,
Gotcha.
and they're going to the North Pole. So he went and got another expedition expert.
Gotcha.
We could go back to Charles, Chaz, whatever, and look at his initial thing, because we did that.
Mm-hmm.
We could look at what he says in relation to this. So it seems like one of the two of them are changing the narrative of how chaotic it was there.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get anything from him because I didn't want to talk to him before, but now I'm kind of thinking because he is a white hair.
Mhm.
I'm
Well, I
kind of
think-
wondering if we should search there,
Investigate
him.
I
If
don't
we-
think he's the white hair though, because I think that we found the white hair
Was
in
Kelly.
Kelly.
But I just want to trigger another death for
Right.
selfish reasons.
Yeah.
So
I
who's
agree.
going to die? Like, who can we talk to make him die? Talk to him and he dies? Talk to him and he dies? Or talk to him and he dies? So I think.
Are all of those talk or investigate though?
I think either.
Yeah. I think
I would
trying to
assume-
interact with them, because he dies, then we try to interact with her, she dies. So now, whoever we try to interact, one of these three, if we try to interact with them
Okay.
next, will die.
Okay, here's another theory. These two brought the statue back to the group. He's in cahoots with Kelly. He's dead, she's dead.
What's his
You
name?
said
Kelly.
that
Charles what?
he's instituted, and he's mumbling. He's an idiot. So he's not
Charles
going
E. Whatever.
Right.
What's his name?
to give up anything. There's two left. If he takes him out and takes him out,
Yeah.
he's with Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. What are you?
What is Charles's last name?
Chaz Johnson.
Johnson.
Johnston.
3 SW.
3 SW.
If you're rereading.
Yeah. And we did one with him.
We did, and it was 3 SW. It was before.
We didn't do 1,003.
Right. Correct.
Now that his wife is dead, I'd be fine to like try to talk to him again to see if he will die, hopefully, or if not, reveal some more information because the death is more personal to him than the doctor was.
Right. Yeah, I could see that.
I think there's so many ways to go, and it's just
Yeah.
which one's
with
going to
only
give us
2
the
more
more
leads.
options. Yeah.
Right.
Because I agree. I think maybe investigating him because the way he was talking. No, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Let's forget all that.
I feel like he's hiding something.
Yeah.
And I think
Is it,
Yeah, but I think
is it
physically
crucially important? I don't know.
I
but-
think Chaz has told us what he's hiding. He's just hiding the fact that he was not a good expedition leader. He's just a warrior hog who's just paying, I think he's red herring. I think he's a
Well-
big, glaring red herring.
Well, I still think that there's the chance that they're all hiding that they stole.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
But nobody's told us that yet. That's just
All
our
right. Well, then what do we got? What do we got on the table that's strong? I think Leonard and I have investigate
Jennings.
Okay.
And I want to interview him or interview him.
Do we want to interview them or investigate them? Because I feel like at this point,
Interview, because I don't think we're going to find anything on investigating. I think interviewing was more likely to trigger their death.
Well, and I like the idea of interviewing the husband because, like you said, now that his wife is also dead, he might talk.
All right. So let's go back to the relationships. He's married to her,
Yep.
and she's just been killed.
Right.
He fantasizes again about her, and she's just been killed.
True. That's true.
So the question, and he's been drinking.
Yeah, that's true.
So
so he might be looser lips.
Yeah, you're convincing me.
And
Okay.
he should, and he's at a party where he should be celebrating and he's angry.
Yeah.
And he
I-
also doesn't toe the line. Like he was kind of towing the line, and he hasn't been
Yeah.
towing the line. So.
And he doesn't have, third party motivation.
Yeah, I think you convinced me with.
Okay, so we just interview
He's
Chaz.
the one who actually loves her.
2000, whatever.
well, that's not what I was trying to convince you of. I was just trying to convince you that I think they're probably both days. But
Okay.
Oh.
No,
gotcha.
All right.
I think you're right. I think we should interview Chaz.
I think we should.
He said, I think you're right. You just said that's not what I was trying to say. He's like, I think you're right, though.
I think what we
we
should
should do that, what you were saying.
I think what we should do is investigate Jennings.
I'm fine either way.
I'm good with potentially both. Any order.
All right, I'll say
I think
this.
They're both good.
How about this? We got 3, right?
2? Unfortunately,
Two.
yeah.
We investigate Jennings, and then I have no vote
And then a flip a
on
coin.
the last one.
Yeah.
Okay, so What was Jennings' address again?
Back to the hotel room.
5, right?
I think so. 5WC.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be 2005 WC.
and investigate
Uh,
interrogator. I could write.
Ugh, short.
Jennings looks nervous as he leaves the hotel and has a cab hailed. You follow him to 3 Southwest, where he's greeted by Johnston, who lets him in. Jennings comes out a good hour later and returns to the Fairmont Coakley Plaza. So
That's Chaz. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he
well, if
goes over
anything,
to
it
Chaz.
makes us want to go to him
Is
even
there
more
anything-
now.
That's us
instead of
that-
having-
Is there anything on the other page just to be sure that?
He comes out an hour later.
But
he's
what
Chaz
what
off.
is 3SW?
Possibly Chaz.
That's where
It's
Chaz is.
Johnson.
Okay, so he just
That's,
goes.
that's where you're going to find Chaz's body.
Right,
That's possible.
which is who we were gonna. He's Chaz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just, if anything, that didn't give us much, but it eliminates talking to him. Seems like that's the way to go, right?
Do we investigate or do we
'Cause he's-
interview Chaz?
It was an hour after.
I would attempt an
He
interview.
comes out a good hour later and returns.
I would still attempt to interview because I like the idea of he's been drinking
This feels
and
like
the one his lover's dead.
10 more clues.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's.
You're
Okay.
going to find Chaz's body at that address.
I think so.
I don't like the idea.
So
The only way to
so
end
just
up in it, yes.
interview.
Right, yeah.
I feel like the way to end up is you keep
2003
going until you
Southwest?
get the actual
yes.
answer.
Right.
Yes.
Interview or investigate?
I'm
I-
good either way, but I would go interview because I think that he would.
It's
talk.
so
We
weird.
could do either. I feel like most of the interviews we've had have been pretty fruitless. Most of the investigations we've had have been fruitful.
Well, or they're totally misses.
Or total misses. That's true of both, though.
Yeah.
But in terms of interviews versus investigations, I feel like
I
we
don't see anything that indicates that one is
Okay,
stronger
so
than
here we
the
go. So interviewing Chaz. Once you are in view of Chaz E. Johnson's shabby apartment in the city's rundown neighborhood, you can see that the front door is wide open. You call, but no one answers. You cautiously enter, your weapons drawn, and discover the lifeless body of the 3 booties.
Gasp!
He's
On the
hiding
living
something.
room floor. A bullet to the
I want
head.
to start principal homicide detective level 5.
Level
You-
5.
you quickly.
Tomorrow.
I said I wanted to interview this guy in
Yeah.
case he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we just found him just now, there's no way
we would know that who had killed him.
and it's going to move us to
That's true.
3,000.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay, you quickly check the premises, and there is no one else, and the mess does not allow you to establish the circumstances of the death with any certainty.
He killed him.
Yeah.
That's right.
A revolver rests on the living room table. 2 bullets are missing from the cylinder. 2 bullets are missing from the cylinder, so the gun was maybe.
It just gives us the crime, though. It
But,
doesn't give
I mean,
us-
he
How
might
did
have had to
she
shoot
die?
twice.
No, how did she die?
I don't remember. The first guy was
I think it's-
blunt. Hers, I don't.
Yeah,
remember.
that's
she was laying in a pool of blood.
Yeah, with a halo around her head of blood.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe she was shot in the head with the same revolver.
Possibly.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, we'd have to talk to the medical examiner on that. But anyway, you notify the authorities and close off the premises while waiting for the medical examiner. Later that evening, you're informed that the Bureau, upon learning of the new developments, has granted you an additional 3 days.
Yay.
If you wish, you can conduct.
Nothing like murder to make it go keep going.
That's why I was looking for a murderer.
Yeah, exactly.
If you wish, you can conduct one last interview before the news of Chaz's death gets out. And then we have to start adding 3,000 to everything. So here's the thing. Can we replicate these results? If we go and we talk to him in the 3,000s, are we going to catch him in the act? Or no, investigate him in the 3,000s.
Yeah.
Catch him in the act of murdering him.
Well, do we need to as well? Because like it doesn't say based on the game rules, but I wonder if in this case, I wonder if we might get penalized or rewarded if we can catch him sooner. Like he's killed 3 people. I wonder theoretically if we could stop him before the other guy.
Yeah.
Like would that
so
be
we
a
just
reward?
Have we interviewed him in the 2000s?
I don't think so.
No.
I think we did in the zeros and
Yes, we did. You did. He talked about Shellbird being dead.
No, that was in the 1,000s.
Yeah, Shellum. He talked about Shellum.
That was in the 1000s. That was before the death of her wife. 2000s would be
we did
after
not
the death
speak.
of her wife.
For
So
him,
do we
I
want to
don't-
interview him in the 2000s?
I just feel like interviewing
I don't
him.
think it matters.
I don't think he's ever going to give us anything
Yeah, I think we need to send.
interview-wise. I think it'd be in
Well, I mean,
investigation.
I think we need to send it.
Oh, you're
to
talking about husband?
Yes.
Oh, I thought we were talking
Oh,
about.
I was
no.
talking about Jennings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I was trying to figure out
Yeah,
what
I
else we
think
can get on
that's-
Jennings
Yeah.
before it moves over.
So
I don't think anything.
I think the best we could do with him is interview him in the 2000s, which is he knows his wife has died. He has not yet learned that Chaz is dead.
Right.
Does he reveal anything more about the expedition, like that lead us to something about the statue itself, right?
I would talk to him more in the 3000s though, because
Yeah.
that's after 3 people have died.
Well,
it's like,
if-
dude, you got to tell us.
Also, at
If
this
we
point, I
talk to
feel
him in
like
the 3000, he's just going to die. Like when we talk to him in the 2000,
duh.
he dies. If we talk to him,
Yeah,
in the
but
3000, he
I
dies.
don't know that hurts us.
I
That
feel like it
him.
might.
No, but we talked to him in the
As soon as-
2000s, right?
and he died.
Yeah.
So he dies as
In
soon
the
as we talked to
2000s.
him.
Yeah, but the thing is we didn't get any information from interviewing him before he died. We
Right.
just went there and he was dead.
Right.
That's why
And
we're
we
saying.
know that this guy's doing the killing.
Yeah.
So all we're going to do is get more.
Okay, so we got 4 investigations.
Points.
Four things worth having.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, the only thing I'm saying, if we talk to him,
Uh,
in the 3000,
we had
we're not going to
two
get
left.
him.
Yeah.
He's just going to die.
16.
Yeah,
Well, we did 2 back to back. We had
okay.
2 left, but we did 2 back to back because
Oh,
we
that's right.
investigated Jennings and then we immediately went to Chaz.
I mean, we've got another
Yeah.
3.
So we
we
have
know
3.
we know he's the killer.
Yes.
We know. I believe he's
So
down-
he can. So his hotel room is just one of the destinations.
Exactly.
and he's working,
Kelly's maybe another destination.
I think so.
and he's working with Kelly.
And
I believe.
so the third destination is where is the statue?
Right.
So we talked to him before he dies.
Right.
Yeah, in
All right,
the
yeah.
2000s.
He's in a
In
panic.
the 2000s.
All right.
After his
I,
wife is dead.
I think we're throwing away a thing, but
I think so,
I'm a
too.
vote.
Do we?
I said if we don't learn anything from going to Jennings, wait a minute, we did learn something from going there. We followed him
Yeah,
and watched him
it
commit
was-
a murder. I wonder if my instincts are working.
Because what's our goal for talking to him? Because what we're trying to figure out is who's in the cult, right?
Where that or where the statue
Right,
is
or where
something
the
that
statue
you,
is.
yeah.
Do
I
we
think-
think we're going to glean any of that from him?
If it's after his wife died, potentially.
He might. He
If
might
he's
sit-
a part of it, but what if he's not? Then I feel like we're throwing away. Like obviously he's
Right. We could be throwing
tied.
something.
Kelly's tied.
Yeah.
So we know those two. Do we want to waste something on that, or do we need to talk to the medical examiner? Do
Or we
now
could-
there's 3
or we
bodies.
could-
Well, I don't know how much the medical
We can-
examiner would
yeah.
help at this point because I think that we know the culprit. So
Right, but I don't know if there's like some sort of thing they find like cult
All right. And to point
information on
yeah.
all 3 of them.
And to point out what something is kind of accurate here. Finding out who murdered anybody is not a part of
No.
our thing. So
Well, I think
why
I think
they
it
murdered
I
him
think it is.
is the thing we have to connect to, not that they didn't, because we want to find out that they're in the esoteric order and where the thing is. That's the things that we need to find out,
Right.
not who murdered somebody.
Right, but
I know they
I
similar
understand.
information, but I'm saying
right. So, but I think you're making my argument for me, Don, because he's not going to tell us about the cult.
Yeah.
Kelly's not going to tell us about the cult.
Right.
So we need someone who's not in the cult
all right.
to give us a
Who
lead.
might say
But who-
who might say like he saw him
Like
meeting with
these
somebody
people,
else, like
these
or
people
visiting a
are
site.
being. This is my point:
They're
is
being
that
systematically
expedition
killed off.
leader is killing these people
Yeah.
because they know something.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they need to tell us what it is that they know
Yes.
before they die.
And he's the
We've
last
only got
one
one left.
Okay, but
I agree with that, and I agree that in the order, because like you said, I think that if we talk to him in the 3000s, I think that's when
We're
he
just going to
dies.
find him dead.
all right, hold
And
on.
my vote, like, I don't mind being outvoted, but I said it before, but I'll just say it one last time that I think my vote would be to try to conclude it before he dies,
Yeah.
because I think that the game might
Okay.
penalize us
I'm
based
just-
on how many people die.
Let me just throw this out there just for a piece of information. I'm not saying to change your mind one way or another, but in the knowledge that this guy has right now, his wife is dead.
Right.
You're saying that because his wife is dead and the other guy is dead, that he's going to tell us something. The game is telling us that we're asking him a question before he knows that the guy is dead. So when we're asking him the question, we're only asking him, your wife is...
No,
two
two are
people.
dead. The doctor's
doctor.
dead.
The
and
doctor.
she's dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Here's our fear, Don. If we talk to him after if he knows that he has died, it's just going to do what they did to us with him. Is we're going to show up to talk to him and he's going to be dead already.
All right.
I think that's
Because I
yeah.
think he's killed him in this order. He killed him, then he killed her, then he killed him. So the next thing he's going to do is kill him.
All right, go ask. I'm putting my money on the table.
I feel like it's not going to be fruitful either, but
that
let's
we're
go
going
for
to
it.
find
Let's go for it.
nothing.
Is it worth rereading about the city hall just to verify that?
No, I think it's worth it to rush on in and you spin this.
That the guy was not-
this lead.
That the guy was not Jennings.
Three
was
people
not, like,
at the
on
table
stage
saying,
or
"Go
something.
ask him."
I just also feel like even if he's like mad now because of that, and you're saying, oh, he might want to talk now, but who's to say he even knows?
None of the victims.
Well, if
None
he
of the
doesn't know
victims have
anything, he
provided any
Right.
information
about the cult or anything. So I
It's
just,
only
Then
after
why
they
are-
died
If
that
he
we.
didn't know anything, why are they getting killed?
Exactly. They're being
Yeah.
killed because they know something.
Sure, but again, none of the dead victims before or after have provided us any information.
Because I think we haven't talked to them in the right
All right,
way.
go talk to
Yeah.
them.
All right. So 2000. What's his address again?
For Abbott.
Where's
West-
That was straight at me. I might get a cold now.
it was in here. It was right in here.
So,
Right in the
Leonard,
shirt. I kept it for myself.
when they're on a course, and this is happening, and the two smart guys
Yeah.
know what's going on, and everybody else is chasing a lead.
We'll see.
Are we allowed to
I
go
would-
on our own?
Right,
Or-
right.
2027?
I would love for us to be wrong,
ELS.
so that
No,
it's
I
not
don't-
wasted.
I
But
wouldn't.
I really don't do
2000.
I don't want us to be wrong at all.
I know.
You'll never live this down if you are wrong.
That is true, because I'm pushing it too hard.
Which one? Is it the smallest paragraph on the page?
It
It
is.
sure fucking is.
John
It
John
sure
Abbott
fucking is.
John Abbott is in one hell of a state when he finally opens the door. He seems haggard and a little lost. The poor man is devastated, still in shock over his wife's passing. Realizing that you will not get the slightest bit of information out of him.
Dang it, Don.
I fucking knew we.
Done.
We decided to leave him alone.
I just there. What purpose would he?
Now, how many leads do we have?
Two.
Do you
They've
want,
got two. We've got three.
do you want to talk to him after he learns of the dis?
I don't want to talk to him ever again. I just don't think he's going to give us anything because every time we've talked to him, it's been
Okay.
useless.
All right.
I think finding
Do you want
out
to cheat and look at it?
I mean, so we're not going to read this big long thing here. Okay.
is that big and long?
Well, we're not going to read this thing here. To talk to him after he learns of the death of that guy. Okay. We won't do that.
Wait, which long paragraph?
We got two. Hey, don't cheat.
Yeah, we've got to.
But,
Not a gigantic.
Yeah, so
one.
we
Does it have bold writing when they
Yeah.
give us three more?
yeah.
Because I didn't see any bold writing.
So maybe he won't die.
So what are we
I
going
might
to
be wrong about
investigate
the
him
fact
again
that
or
he-
what?
So what do we have now? So we've got. I think focusing. I don't know in what we've got to flesh it out, but him and Kelly are obviously where we're going to get the information we need. It's one of them or both of them.
But we've already tried.
Where
to
was
invest-
Shellum?
Well, we can try investigating Kelly again post the
location,
murder.
1 Northwest was his home. We went there 1001 Northwest.
Or
We did 1001?
Yeah.
or
Not
do
one.
we investigate him
correct.
again after the third murder? But I don't know if that.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that just going to make us
Well-
go to the next murder,
wait.
or is that going to be like, okay, I
We
whacked enough people to
investigated
go talk to
or
Kelly?
we interviewed?
I did not write that down. I think we investigated because that was after he died. It was after he was
Okay.
dead, so I'm pretty sure we chose to investigate.
I don't know where that went.
I'll get it.
I got it.
I thought our reasoning was sound, even though
I agree.
I really did not. I'm not trying to be like. It didn't seem like any of them were giving any information anytime we talked to any of them.
I just don't know where else
I
to
thought
get
the
information
circumstances
because
might have
the-
changed.
the-
Right.
the sources of information are being killed off.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
ergo, where else are we supposed to get information
But
other than those
But
sources
like
of
we were
information?
saying, who cares? That's not the goal. The goal isn't about the
No,
murders.
the goal is the information.
Right, but
who else are you going to get the information from other than from the people
From-
who are being killed off because they have
Because
that?
they
or
know
from
something.
following the people doing the killing and stealing, like we've got Kelly and him. Because I just feel like every interview we've done has led, unless I'm mistaken, I feel like there's been no fruitful conversations. All the information, the crucial information we've gotten is from investigations. I feel like that's unless I'm missing something, but
So Kelly had two guys.
The interviews
turn up
are
to
how we
his
find the
place
dead body.
Correct.
that's true. But
looking, which we
would
don't
we
know
have
who
found
they
that
are,
with the investigations
get
too,
paid.
or I don't know.
Maybe.
I think so. That's what it sounded like. Yeah.
So he's obviously been in contact with Kelly.
Right.
But why still?
When did we talk to Avast? 27 years.
2000.
1,000 and 2,000.
1,000 and oh, that's who we just talked to.
Yeah.
All right. Here's what I'm trying to find. Then, does anybody mention anything about a relationship with Jennings, a connection to Jennings? Because if we
has the affair with the chick who he killed.
Yeah.
well, I mean, like, when did we talk to the? Did we talk to the mayor, or when did we talk to Kelly?
At the
We
beginning.
investigated her. We didn't.
No, we spoke to
We spoke
Kelly,
to him
William
early.
Kenny.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Kelly
right, yeah.
at the beginning. It was our first lead.
We spoke to Kelly
It was
at the
11
at the
WC.
museum.
11 WC.
Yeah.
And when we
then
investigated, that
investigated.
was white hair for the people talking to him about.
Right. Yeah.
That was his house.
Right.
They're
Different
shady
location.
people with the transacting money. So we might be able to investigate him again and post the
So
footage
Kelly's
and see if he does further
had two guys
Yeah, show up.
show up to get paid.
Right.
So Kelly's obviously the high up guy.
Yeah, middleman or higher. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Because it could be that he was just paying for the transportation that's delegated to him or whatever,
Yeah.
or it could be he's the top. But I feel like typically the top
I
involved
would
person is not the
doubt
one
that.
dealing with the petty payment of some
Yeah.
Yeah.
transport people or something that be delegated.
So obviously Jennings has got to be lower because Jennings. Well,
I don't
is
know.
he going to be lower? Is he going to be
I don't know.
lower?
He might be. He's got that gift of gab. Apparently, he loves talking himself up and schmoozing.
And he may either
But
be
no, but
cult
Jennings
himself
is- if
or he
Jennings
might have
was
sold
higher-
information to the cult.
So if Jennings was high up, he wouldn't be doing the killing. He would have somebody else
Probably
doing the killing.
not. Yeah, that's true.
And he would
Yeah,
want
he's
to
tying up his
himself.
own loose ends.
Yeah.
All right. So Ramsey is the. Have we talked to Emerson?
The
Emerson's in
truck,
jail.
the truck owner.
Oh, he's in jail.
Oh, you know who we haven't spoken to is the lawyer.
That's
Emerson.
Ramsey is the lawyer.
That's who I think we should. I mean, I think he's involved in it.
I would almost rather investigate than interview.
I don't want to
for
be
the
like
lawyer.
I don't want to like push too hard, but I feel like
Yeah.
I don't want to interview anybody anymore.
Yeah.
All I want to do is investigate because I feel again I could be wrong, but
Their
Yeah.
actions
But-
speak louder than their words.
Yeah, you don't ever interview a lawyer.
especially not a lawyer. A lawyer's never
Investigate
going to
a
tell
lawyer.
you
Yeah.
what they don't want to tell you.
Yeah. Whereas if he's meeting with his clients, we might
Right.
get another
Yeah, I'd be
idea for
okay
a
with that,
cultist.
Don. Investigating a lawyer.
Okay, there's also this statement that says there is little doubt that the Inspector Aaron and his legendary sagacity will be able to solve the mystery. Is Aaron the?
Investigating officer of the burglary.
Yeah.
There is a John Aaron here.
Yes. I think that's.
We've got
Is
two-
that our boss or is he separate from us?
No, he's separate from us.
We're with a different department. We're
So-
the FBI basically, and he's a cop.
So would we get any information
I
from him?
don't know that we'd
It-
gain
it
anything
might
that we
be-
don't.
It might be early game.
Yeah, like less than we
Yeah,
already know.
Well, it wouldn't now because they've already got murders on the table. We're in the 3000s.
So when I go home, I'm not going to investigate, interview John at all.
There you go.
When I do it.
Yeah. Thank you.
See if I can solve this.
You've learned your lesson. Don't interview John. I have it written down. Investigate Pallard's hospital. I think that's still potential.
Oh, for yeah.
Yeah,
Crazy guy.
yeah. Just to see if he has other visitors or a.
Because he's the only one that so far
leader.
has said anything that
What do you think about
that's
investigating
a
a
little
lawyer?
woo-woo.
So that's what I'm trying to. So we got
I like
two
investigate-
leads right now?
Well, the other ones that I've written down are Inspector Arone, but I do think that that's old
I think that's early game.
Chaz Postmortem I need to cross out because that's no longer relevant.
I'm torn because I do think there could be information
Calvert.
from potentially investigating a lawyer,
Yeah.
investigating a hospital, but I also feel like maybe from reinvestigating Jennings or Kelly, that might be fruitful too, but I don't know which is more than any other. And I don't know if maybe following him again would
I wonder if he would just kill the
kill
other
the
guy,
other
sort
guy,
of
and then
thing.
we get like 3 more clues. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but since following him once was great in that we saw him kill the guy. If we follow him again, he might kill the other guy, but still might not meet with the police.
We didn't
things
see
could
him
change.
kill him. We just saw him come out of the
Right,
place.
That's true. Yeah, yeah,
We just saw him go in there for an hour and then come out and the guy was dead.
yeah. That's true. We shouldn't presume.
And he wasn't dead before. Well, we can presume that he wasn't dead before that because nobody
Well-
spent an hour in there.
Also,
I think it actually said that. I think Jennings let him in. We could reread that.
this is a level
I'm
one.
pretty sure. 2005 WC was when we investigated. He visited Chaz, is how I wrote it down, but I think Chaz let him in.
Yeah, he did, and there's really no reason why he wouldn't, because even if you
Yeah.
don't like the guy,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's like,
Colleagues, whatever.
Yeah,
Or,
and you might have your own piece you want to say to him. It's like, yeah,
Right.
come in and I will, give you my, my thoughts on
Yeah.
you.
How the gala went or whatever.
And also there's
at that point,
so-
two people died. So
Yeah.
So I think we're in agreement. The 4 possibilities are the lawyer, the hospital, Kelly, and Jennings.
Okay,
How do
now let
Or we
me.
talked to him.
I just need to get a
Get the
piece
fuck
of
outta
game.
here.
I need to get a piece of game information from you. Okay. So
you're off the case? I want your gun and badge.
here it tells us to get these things. I expect your report within 10 days.
the overall game is close but slightly different. Or at least, or was that only the first one?
So
Well, here's the thing. When you turn to this page, there is nothing here. When you turn to this page, it's upside down, and I'm assuming it's the solution.
That should be the
Yeah.
solution.
So I don't see a place to do your 3 locations that you're speaking about. Is that from the rule book separate, or
I think that was from the rule book. I don't think that was just case 1. I thought that was the
So,
rule book itself.
I kind of feel like
Because I know
what I'm hearing us is that we need to out loud announce these 3 pieces.
And then
of
see the
information,
answer.
And then check the answer.
I think that there are, for case 1, and I think it's based on the rule book. I don't think it was a special thing for case 1. The paragraphs, I think, were in the back. And if the paragraphs existed, we read them. If they didn't exist, we got 0 points for each paragraph. And we were trying to get like 7 total points, at least, to have a success.
As soon as you think you have solved the case or have run out of leads, you must choose 3 locations in which you will intervene and neutralize the threat. Once you've chosen the 3 locations, refer to the printed upside-down text at the end of the booklet, read the corresponding paragraphs, and get your final score.
Okay, so yeah, we will pick 3.
And I think we're aiming for like a score of 7 or whatever, which we did not get on 1, but
So then with that information, as much as I'm interested in investigating Pollard, I think we could scratch maybe that, because what obviously the statue's not stored at the hospital.
Right. I would think Pollard would be potential for, if we do it first, not second, maybe someone visits him and we get someone else to tail, or a site of cultist activity.
Yeah,
I
I definitely think he's got.
Our culprits we think are him and Kelly, but we don't know of a third culprit, right?
Right.
So the third
I think it's
location
Royal.
would be
where the
Where the statue is,
where the statue
or where the cultists are.
right.
Like if there's
The lawyer's
a
Well, the
office.
statue
Right.
is probably where
Which
the
is-
cultists are.
right,
So then maybe, yeah.
which is the only reason that
I would
think
investigate
the hospital
him.
might be
and investigate
only because
the
he was
lawyer.
saying
The
Because he
lawyer.
might go
doctor,
to the
not
lawyer.
doctor.
Right. And like, I'm torn. I think the lawyer might be a good one. I'm torn between him investigating him and then Pollard. I don't think obviously Pollard's going to help with the golfing, but he might help with the cultist thing.
That's yeah.
But I feel like anything he gleans for us is going to require at least one or two more leads after that, which
Right.
we won't have. Which is why I'm like, okay, so then do we focus on these two, which might give us.
I don't know that we gain anything else by following the two, but I mean
I'm
that's
sorry,
just
I'm not
investigate.
telling him like investigate him and the
And the
lawyer.
lawyer.
yeah. I mean I don't think investigating him would give us any more. I think he would be killing.
Well, let me ask
that
this:
guy.
do we all feel good about the lawyer being an important one?
I do.
I found the giant typo.
Oh,
Says it's divided into two main parts: the inquiry and the intervention.
Yeah, well, we're in the.
Then it says the investigation.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Mhm.
Intervention is the okay.
it's the conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not as strong for the lawyer because I feel like the lawyer might be a different route to get information about linking him to Kelly.
Okay.
I don't think that the lawyer would necessarily get us information
So
about Colt,
it's the lawyer defending Emerson from the trucking company, but we've already got
who
the
was
connection
hired.
between the trucking company and Kelly.
Right.
Yeah, but the lawyer might be the link, the third link, because there's somebody else involved other than Jennings and Kelly. He's got Emerson's a courier, criminal courier.
I forgot. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just think, and he's got all the knowledge.
I don't think Emerson has any knowledge.
Did we ever talk to the Watchman
We did
or
not.
investigate
No,
or anything?
No, we
I've
did
still
not.
got him.
I
listed.
suggested a couple times, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking it might. Now I'm not sure what it would do for us.
Yeah, I don't know.
See, at one point I wanted to do it just because I wanted him to die, but we already got someone else to die. So
Yeah. So is he going to die or is he going to be a part of it?
I don't think he's part of it. I think he was just paid off by Kelly, and all investigating him would do would be watch him get killed as a loose end.
Or
Does that
or,
then
or
give us
just
three more
shed.
clues then?
Yeah, or shed more light on, or shed more shade on Kelly, which we
Yeah.
already suspect.
I mean, to your point, if we investigate him, he might die. But if he doesn't, we burn the clip.
Yeah. I don't know that he will or not.
Can we go to his house?
Whose house?
Emerson's?
Which one's Emerson again?
The truck owner?
Oh,
You don't think he's just the fall guy because he's already been arrested?
I don't think it's anybody other than
Yeah,
I think
I think
he runs a trucking company.
an anonymous-
that rents trucks
yeah,
out.
no questions asked.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think
what are you
it's
saying?
good.
Like if we investigate it, maybe he's got documentation of where they
Okay,
transport
where
the
is-
statue to?
I
where
don't
is
think
the statue?
I think we found all the information that we'll get from him.
Statues with a lawyer in the lawyer's office.
Where is the statue? And much to
These two,
my accidental situation was 100% not intentional. But just like Michael accidentally found a location for Pollard,
yeah.
I have found a very important location as far as the size of the paragraph. But I don't want to give that information out.
No.
But I'm waiting.
Help
for
us get
somebody-
there.
But I've been trying to figure it out because I do not understand why it is huge. But it is a page and a half of paragraph.
Okay.
So there's we've got our selections of
Yeah.
all the options.
Yeah.
We've got the Watchman,
And I can't find
we've got the
it.
lawyer,
Right.
Pollard,
Pollard.
Kelly,
Kelly, we've got
nothing to do
Arone.
with
Arone,
No.
we've got Emerson, we've got Jism.
Jennings.
Yeah,
It's
that
not
one.
it's not one of the bookstores.
Is it the legal office of?
All right,
Is it
I'm just
Durham?
gonna
Is
say
it the zoo? Is it
no, it's
the-
not that. I'm just gonna say that for some reason the library was huge.
How did we get to the
by
library?
accident, I'm like, why is the Miskatonic Library, like, I'm not.
The Miskatonic?
Miskatonic?
Yes.
I mean,
That- I
that's
thought-
cultist.
That's on the flip side of the map too. That's like not in Boston. That's on the other side. Yeah, why
It's
would
in
we
the,
go
it's
there?
listed in the ELS.
Weird.
Yeah, okay. So,
But it,
because
State library.
If we're looking up cultist information.
if we're looking up information on the esoteric order
oh, maybe
of
it's just
Dagon-
that simple.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that simple that you go to the library and you look up.
Yeah.
And it gives
Also,
us a
in
lot
that
of
day and
early
age, where
hand
did you go for all
information.
kinds of research about the library?
Yeah.
Hermione Granger would have went there first.
I know, right.
Or
In
even,
the
or
forbidden
even, or even you go to
Hey,
the library
I got
just to
that
look
before
up
machine.
information
I
on
ordered
the on the
What,
statue
like Harry
itself.
Potter one?
Right.
You just
Oh,
get
nice.
background information.
Okay, so
Like
maybe
this
it's
is
just
just-
general
Nice.
knowledge information.
I mean, it might be useful information, but also just might be a
They're probably
page and a half
just-
of
It
flavor.
was just
Flavor
announced
text
like
mark.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
on Friday,
Mm,
and deposit was paid about 2 weeks ago.
nice.
All right.
I think
Where is
I'm
just a
leaning towards
murder?
the hospital.
We need a murder.
Murder would probably be. There's only two candidates for murder right now. This guy and the security guard. Those are our two candidates for murder. More likely him because that.
But how do we trigger him? Because
We
we
investigate him.
No.
Well,
I
the investigation,
talked to
the
him.
investigation led us to
We
the
saw
murder.
him murdered.
and then we went to talk to him, or we went
Yes.
to
He
investigate?
died.
We
He
investigated
died
his
when we
house.
tried to talk to him.
But if we've got
Oh,
two,
yeah.
he might lead us to the next one, and then we
Yeah.
need to do that.
Yeah.
But that's a crapshoot. We could be.
Yeah.
We could be. But I mean, I'm still interested in.
I do think that if he's willing to kill off his colleagues to cover things up, there is a. I won't call it 50-50, but there is a non-0%
Okay,
chance
but
that they're going to kill off the
Let me
security
just
guard to
throw this
cover
out there.
things up.
I kind of agree with that, except I think he's kind of tying up his loose ends. I think that Kelly is. I think that he's subcontracted, like he's dealing with his
All
own
right.
guys in his own way. So
Yeah.
Let me throw this out there. We're jumping to a conclusion that may not be here. The only thing we know for sure is we watched him go to his house, and then for
Leave
an
an
hour
hour
leave,
later.
and then he was
Dead. Yeah.
okay. So we're assuming he killed him, and because of that, we're assuming that he also killed him.
right.
But he could have gone to his house and argued with him over her because she was murdered. He knew that he was in love with her. He confronted
That's a
her
good point.
to say, you killed her and I loved her, even though, because we were having an affair and I loved her and you murdered her. And he's like, no, you murdered him. And then they fight and then he kills him.
Well,
He kills him because he thinks that he murdered her, not.
Well, also
He's
let
clearing up.
me posit something else. We found the revolver at his place when we found his body. Like we can reread this interview
Right.
description
Yeah.
with 2 bullets gone.
with 2 bullets gone. But here's the thing: if I am correct, and the first bullet was used to kill her, and the second bullet was used to kill him, why was the revolver left at his house rather than taken away by the murderer, who obviously when the murderer killed her, he took the revolver with him. The murderer doesn't have the habit of leaving his gun behind at the crime scene.
Right.
Which might lead to, hey, he killed her with said revolver, then he kills himself with said revolver, and that's why the revolver is there. It was a murder-suicide.
He gave him Jennings told Johnston something, and then Jennings leave, and then Johnston shoots himself.
Maybe.
So then that would.
We would need the
We would need the
all
medical
these
examiner.
questions bring me back to wanting to talk to the medical examiner.
Yeah, let's talk
To
to the
see
medical
if-
examiner.
Yeah.
Okay, was it the same bullets or calibers that killed both?
And if
was
they
it
were self-inflicted
Right,
or
self-inflicted
defense
or whatever,
wounds.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Okay, let's do it. Medical
Okay.
examiner.
That's in the book somewhere.
So it's going to be 3,000 whatever, but yeah.
government office? Okay.
Is there a police?
There's a bunch of police, but
Hospital.
Government building, medical
He
examiner.
could also be
Arkham
dead in
medical
time.
examiner
Nope.
is
Like maybe
nope.
maybe those were the only 3
No.
Boston
settings or
medical
something
examiner.
for whatever reason.
There we go. Let me make sure it's not another one. Yeah, Boston medical examiner is 7 SW.
Okay, so 3007. SW.
Yeah, 2007.
The other thing that was in there were so many different precincts.
Yeah, there really are.
So what police precinct has? We'd have to know.
I guess you know
what case the murderers were.
Well, yeah, whatever address they were at is whatever precinct
Okay.
they were probably investigating. by.
There are several similarities between the Johnston and Abbott cases. In both, the gunshot wound was inflicted post-mortem.
What?
Okay.
And the brain had been reduced to a mush.
Wait, the what and what?
Post-mortem, and the brain was
Who-
reduced to
who again?
these two.
So the Johnson and Abbott cases.
Okay.
Or Abbott's cases. The gunshot wound was inflicted post-mortem, and the brain had been reduced to a mush. No matter how many tests I run, I found no trace of explosives or anything else that would allow me to determine the exact cause of death. It's a real puzzle. You can also read at no cost entries 1007 and 2007.
Let's do that.
Okay, yeah.
Let's skip that.
Yeah, let's not read that.
Okay. Because he's also giving us this information.
The bad information.
Yeah.
1007. The medical examiner opens one of his morgue's many lockers and pulls out a corpse. In addition to the body partially covered by a sheet, a large bowl, this is going to be for Dr. Lee.
Okay, so
A large bowl contains a pinkish mush where the head should be. There is also a small aluminum tray full of skull fragments.
Some zombie action happening.
George A. Shellum, or maybe they're being killed because in order to mush their brains because of what would happen otherwise. George A. Shellum, 53 years old. Cause of death, decapitation by crushing. The victim was lying with his back on the floor when the blow was dealt. He didn't protect himself. Neither his hands nor his forearms showed the slightest bruise. However, he rose the body on its side. These bruises here, and there, between the lividity marks, suggest that the victim fell backward with all his weight. He takes the body back to the locker, and she fell flat like a plank. But no marks on the chest. And she fell flat like a plank, but no marks on the chest, as you can see, and no trauma to the neck. Well, what remains of it? In any case, where are we getting the sheet from?
It sounds like he moved on to her,
But this is 1007, so this would have been after the knowledge of the doctor's death, but before the knowledge of her death. But I would assume before her death even occurred.
maybe
We'll get to it when
just
we get
found
to
it in a different
2007.
order.
And she fell flat like a plank, no marks on the chest, as you can see, and no trauma to the neck. Well, what remains of it? In any case, the victim was not pushed to the ground. The blows to the head were dealt with great strength and violence. The first blow shattered the skull. The perpetrator then dealt several successive blows until the brain matter got liquefied, reducing it to what I would describe as mush. But that's not all. The size of the skull fragments suggests that before reducing the brain mush, the killer took the time to set them aside before placing them back in the middle of it. Gentlemen, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes.
Sorry, could you say that part again about placing it back in the middle of it?
That's not all. The size of the skull fragments suggests that before reducing the brain to mush, the killer took the time to set them aside, the skull fragments, before placing them back in the middle of it. Takes the skull segments aside, smashes the brain to mush,
and then puts
the skull fragments back into the pile of mush.
Weird.
Or the brain out of the hole and put the brain back in.
Yep.
And so then 2007, so this is now talking about Abbas. So all of this should have been just talking about him, so I'm not sure.
Where did you see she?
And she fell flat. But I really think that's a typo because
Yeah, it might have been he.
Yeah, I think it's just a typo because it's he fell flat because it's not all the rest of the description sounded like George's or the doctor's.
Okay.
Or should be Shellum, of course.
all his weight.
and fell flat like a fine. So I think this is a continuation of this thought. I think it's just using the pronoun.
Well, it could be a weird turn of a phrase. And she fell flat, like a board or a ship or a.
The body's a she.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, we were talking about Shalom.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's Shalom.
Okay.
And Shalom fell flat.
Yeah.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay, 2007. I can confirm beyond any
What a
doubt that
year.
it was not the bullet that killed 36-year-old Florence Abbas. That wound was inflicted post-mortem, and a projectile of this caliber certainly could not have caused this much damage. With no other injuries and the contents of her skull being amiss, it is quite difficult for me to determine the exact cause of death. Moreover, examination of the stomach and esophagus, which were particularly damaged, stomach and esophagus, indicates that the victim spent her last few days ingesting all sorts of materials unfit for consumption. We found pieces of wood and metal, traces of various acids, sodium hydroxide, and other products used in photography. The medical examiner hands you a list, as well as paper and dirt. The condition of her jaw and teeth, and also her lips, which remain intact, as well as this part of the head, having been spared by the shot, indicate that the victim most likely chewed and ingested these foods of her own free will. He points to the broken molars and incisors, literally breaking her teeth on some of these foods. In all my days as an examiner, I've never seen anything like it. And we can read this page. Let's just read 1007. Examination of the victim's stomach. We note the unusual presence of numerous materials unfit for consumption, blah, 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 all of these things. So what this is sounding like is maybe each of the people who went on the expedition, starting with Joseph, go crazy. Their craziness might leads them to die in some maybe self-inflicted way.
Or they become zombified and they need to take their heads off.
Right. But then whoever is wishing their brains is doing it to cover up.
That's a hell of a cocktail she had there.
Yep.
To cover up the state of
That
their
doesn't
brain.
look like coffee stains. The medical examiner just spraying blood all over their
Yeah.
documentation.
Like basically,
Like, why is
maybe.
why is
maybe-
there not the classic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the
So
coffee?
I was also wondering, like, mind flayer from D&D. Like,
Okay.
if our guy is like a mind flayer replicant type thing, I mean, Cthulhu version, doing something to their brain, that's what's killing them. But then same idea, covering it up afterwards. That's something else killing them.
Now we
I
know
don't
for a fact if there was murdering going on, it's him, not him.
well, we
because-
don't know for a fact it's him. We just know for a fact it's not him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I said if there's murder going on, well, there is, but yeah, because he obviously
It's
can't
not-
mash his own brain and then shoot himself post-mortem.
Yeah. So this is not. He didn't kill himself.
Right.
So we still don't know conclusively that he killed him. Even if he's the one doing the cover-ups, like they could be dying and then he could be going around going, I'm not going to let knowledge of this get out.
No, but yeah,
Because it's going to
then
stain my reputation. I just led the successful expedition, brought back this whole thing. People are giving.
I still feel like he's involved because
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The
I mean,
fact that
even
you,
if he's covering it up,
yeah,
that's involved.
there's no way you would.
Can we reread the first death, the where Shalom died?
Yeah, that's
at the city hall, 1EC.
When did
I'll tell
we
you what,
read?
though,
When
the
did we
examiner
read
did tell me
Pollard was
exactly what I wanted to
2000,
know,
right?
which was
Yeah.
to dispel
Pollard was.
It was
Yeah,
not
we read
Pollard was
something
at
like-
the 2000s.
I'm sorry, Pollard.
We interviewed him, I think, in the 2000s. 2000 or 3000.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Not
45.
2000.
What?
45 2000s.
Okay.
And that was what Pollard.
Yeah.
Pollard, because he's the other person that's gone
Right.
nuts.
Exactly.
He slept in
And
his
the cone.
bed.
I'm
and
still
was
trying to
like,
figure out
with
what the
drool on his
cone
lips
is.
and Hagerford.
But he started out bad, but then he got a little bit better. So, but and now he's like in protective custody because he's been committed, so he can't really harm himself.
I'm wondering if it's zombies or brain sucker type thing. going on. Cone could be.
Taking the head off. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Or mashing
and
it into a
Cone could
cone.
be like the thing eating the
Yeah.
brains and only ate him partially.
Yeah, it's like the brain bug from Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Well,
so you want to reread the city?
At
and
this
that's
point,
what-
when he's
when
saying
he
doctor,
Or
not
not Super
doctor.
Troopers, Starship
I'm
Troopers.
just yeah. I'm wondering what the order of events might have been in the city hall when we see
Okay.
in terms of
So
like.
it was. There's another like 6 movies.
Oh yeah, there is.
And they're probably
I
really
don't know how
bad.
good those are, but the first one.
Okay. A
So
little
does
further
Trevor's.
down,
Yeah.
Arthur Jennings continued to congratulate himself at nauseam, blah blah blah. So we had we had the whole show by the primitive, right?
Oh yeah.
The harpoon in hand, like
Yes.
that, blah blah blah.
Graboids.
I love that franchise.
I,
Blast.
Tremors is one of my favorite
Yeah.
franchises. With I forget
Kevin
the
Bacon.
no, but I prefer
Reba
the other guy.
McEntire.
Reba
Oh, yeah.
over there with a freaking elephant gun.
No, the Michael, what's his name? The one who does the mold.
Yeah, the gun guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
gun
Michael Gross?
Yeah, Michael Gross's
Yeah.
character. Yeah. I even like the Tremors TV series. But anyway, which also I like. But anyway, okay, so we have Jennings, doing his shtick. Then we see at the bar Chazzy Johnson drinks more than he should, and rebuffed guests. So I mean, other than his drinking, he's not that great.
Yeah.
But he's probably not happy because he knows that he's got it. Whatever's happened to the others, he's got it.
Maybe, or he
It's
just.
just going to get him.
But when we talked to him, he gave an explanation. He said that he was completely resentful of the whole thing because it wasn't a great expedition. It wasn't a great find. The expedition leader was a joke, and he just he was just over it. He didn't want to be congratulated for it, right? But he wasn't acting afraid when we talked to him. He was just like
Depressed.
well, yeah, just upset. Just like this was not a triumph. This was a bear escape.
There's a Miskatonic savings bank as well.
Nice.
Throwing that out there.
Then okay, so after there was you grab a journalist by his sleeve. Oh wait a minute. So okay. The mayor poses with a haughty, magnificent, middle-aged woman before abandoning his queue of crawlers and taking her to a private booth surveilled by 2 policemen in plainclothes. You grab a journalist by the sleeve. The woman's name is Alexandra Zakovich. She is a Russian collector, in single quotes. Moreover, a widow who fled communism and whose latest acquisition seems to be the mayor. So she might be heavily involved in the cult.
That could be. How do you spell her last name?
Zakharovic.
Okay, gotcha.
Alexandria.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's at 76 ELS.
Yeah, so that might be somebody to investigate.
But we can't look at the off map stuff, right?
We can
Oh, we can. Oh,
sometimes. If
it's
there's a
in there.
paragraph.
That's right. Yeah.
But then after, so then we go and then there's the whole finding of the body.
Okay.
I have not seen any indication of the abyss anywhere in all of this.
Yeah.
I didn't see any Miskatonic library, but I did see a savings bank and university.
It's probably the university. Like it might be their library.
Yeah.
Okay, and nobody, no noises, no fleeing the scene. Obviously, like we definitely didn't get that the first time. We would have.
A waitress is staring at the floor,
where
so-
she discovered the body.
Yeah, he screamed. Yeah.
Okay.
So, what we didn't do is we didn't stick around to listen to the whole mayor doing his shit after the discovery of the body, which is which is 1001. But I'm not suggesting we do. I'm just saying we have. But I'm not uninterested in her now that she's a collector in quotes, because that's how these cultists represent themselves.
Right. And if she has that reputation and is interested in the mayor, I think that's a reasonable enough lead.
Well, we
We've
got
got
one left, so
Yeah.
obviously, if we're gonna do anything with her, I would imagine investigate over
Yeah.
interview.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm so torn between.
You could
A ton of
reinvestigate
different things,
Kelly
like, yeah.
to see if things have progressed
Right.
with him in the interim.
Or Jen.
Reinvestigate him or
Jennings or whatever.
him.
The lawyer.
I just don't think the lawyer's going to do the same.
I think
thing.
after speaking to the medical examiner,
The lawyer's less appetizing.
Yeah.
There's still the watchman, but I don't think he's gonna.
Yeah. So the only people I can right now see being involved in the cult are him, Kelly, maybe him.
I don't think he's at all.
I don't think he is either.
Yeah, and I don't think Kelly's involved
Because
in the cult. He could be, but I don't think
either he's involved in the cult or he's going to be infected and killed at some point.
At some point,
that's
probably,
the
but
case.
I don't think he's got anything to do with it.
And maybe her, just
The
because
Russian-
she's being described
Because if he was in the cult, why would he want his lover to be insane?
positioning herself,
Right.
mayor.
Yeah, exactly.
Which theoretically a lot of collectors might be
At
at the
this-
gala
But
to see it, but
Sure.
she's the one that was called out.
76 ELS. Let's, I
let's
mean, we
do
got
that.
one left. Just,
Let's
let's
do that.
roll the dice on it. Unless
Did you find them?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, it's going to be
So
3,000.
76 ELS and doing the stakeout version, the investigate, right? Not the interview.
3,000 what now?
76.
There is no.
are those coffee stains? Those are coffee stains.
Good, there we
they
go.
are.
About damn time.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, this.
Oh, here we go. Why you wanted a copy stain?
He's
I mean,
we were
are
joking
we
about
doing
it.
any investigation if there's not a document with
Yeah,
coffee stains? I mean,
exactly.
it's not.
3,076. On our way to Alexandra Zakovic's home at the end of the day around 6 p.m., you see her Rolls Royce, basically, speeding down the road. As your vehicles pass, you spot her sitting in the backseat, both hands wrapped around a black briefcase on her lap. By the time you can turn around, her vehicle is already out of sight.
Who's this?
That's so
The-
lame.
That's the lady from
Yeah.
That's
I mean, she's sus,
disappointing.
but we didn't catch her at the
We don't have enough time.
Yeah. Oh, that's lame.
Okay, here's my
Yeah, because now we have to decide which 3 locations, right?
Yeah.
okay, look.
Definitely, my take is Kelly's house for one, for sure.
I agree.
Kelly and
in the
Jennings.
hotel room.
Or
Yeah.
Jenkins or whatever.
And then I would just Hail Mary her because she was sus with the
I think
briefcase.
so too.
Either that or the hospital, but yeah, I think her. I think I would lean.
I don't think it's
towards
the
her.
hospital.
Yeah, because it's got to be somewhere where the statue would be stored.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the hospital. And the cult's not going to be doing their convening at the hospital.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Michael. I think her place is the Hail Mary, is the third.
So 76 would be one of them. The what are the lines?
And we're all out of leads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't get anybody else killed.
15 was Kelly's house.
Don, do you have any locations that you would like to interject with?
I still think it's the truck people.
5.
The truck people? Yeah, it's not because the payment and all that is a. Yeah, I feel confident about keeping Kelly and him on there, but
All right.
I could
So
see going.
so here we go. So
I guess
here
Michael
are,
decided for us.
well, we named them. We named
Did we?
Jenny.
I think we were still talking
I don't
about
think
it.
we did.
I think we
Yeah,
were
I
still
don't think
talking
we
about it, but
I think that was some of our
Yeah.
selections, but I don't think it was a group
Go for it.
consensus.
Go for it.
Okay. 3005 WC Arthur A. Jennings.
Is that on there? No, is it on our list?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
Yeah,
Jennings
that's
is
Jennings.
5. Okay.
Yeah.
Dawn is barely breaking when the door to Arthur A. Jennings' suite is shattered. You soon find him standing in his bedroom, covered in branches, scrutinizing a book whose pages he is turning at an alarming rate. As the other agents deploy into the room, ordering him to raise his hands, he slowly turns his head toward you. You dive into his big black eyes filled with forgotten stars and extinct galaxies. The walls of the cyclopean room are covered with strange machines through which some sort of blue color intermittently circulates, vaguely illuminating large conical shapes manipulating frightening tools. You dare not lower your gaze for fear of catching a glimpse of your own body. Panic silently invades your mind without any indication of physical impact. This is not your body. An intense migraine overcomes you as Jennings lets go of your head and collapses, shot by an agent. A bloody slurry flows out of his ears onto the floor, forming strange arabesques. So I think he's just
Headache, he was about to crush our skull.
Mhm.
Like
So we get
everyone.
1 point for that.
Okay.
1 point. Okay.
One.
Yep.
Out of how
So-
many points?
So mind flare. I think we need
Next is
7.
15.
Holy shit.
So then we've got
Yeah.
XX15 WC Kelly. So at any point, you observe somewhat saddened the curator leaving the interrogation room,
What?
flanked
Oh,
by
shit.
2 agents. How could such a brilliant man have fallen so deep into the hell of
Okay,
gambling
okay, good.
and debt that he lost everything? That is the one mystery you were not able to solve. As for the rest, his modus operandi, certainly clever, was extremely simple, all things considered. Took advantage of the watchman's nap to move the statue and
The
transport
nap?
Yeah,
He wasn't
And-
even paid off.
and transport it to its destination using a rental truck. He then returned to the museum to wake the poor man with a start by making a noise to make him believe that the statue had vanished as if by magic. All in all, nothing that magical about it. You diligently closed the file in front of you, telling yourself that the Boston police could just as easily have solved this case. 3 points.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Okay, XX76. Alexander Zakrovich, and you can all thank me for this one. Such fury! Alexander Zarkovich's usual proud posture deflates as you serve her a search warrant. You take off your jacket and carefully hang it on your car's rear view mirror. It doesn't take long to find the vile statue plonked in the middle of her bedroom.
Gas!
You roll up your left sleeve. What a perverse idea could have crossed her mind to leave it there in that very spot. Deciding that you will leave your questions for later, you roll up your right sleeve and jump into the fray. Alexandra struggles like crazy, screaming at your 4 friends. You better give them a hand before she tears her eyes out. 3 points.
Okay,
Mm.
that's 7.
Okay.
7 is the max.
Yeah, so we needed to get the 2 3s, which are these,
Yeah.
and then any of the other 1
What were the
pointers.
other 1-pointers?
All the people who are going to die. So,
Oh,
So you
if
just
we
threw
are-
a Hail Mary
any-
at
Well,
we
we
any
did
of
investigate
these
her, and
are
it
going
was
to die
sus.
via liquidated brain.
So we were certain about the 2. So then
Yeah.
that did leave.
Yeah,
All right, what's the solution say?
yeah. But any of these were just worth 1 point.
Man, I
Right.
could say
Which makes
that-
me feel good though that we were good
Yeah.
good about
Yeah,
Kelly was there the whole
big,
time.
The big, yeah.
he's the one that acquired it for her.
Right.
I just,
Because
yeah,
of the gambling.
I just thought that maybe. he
I
was
could have
just-
saved Trust 2 hours because I said Kelly
But-
right from the start.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
He's right next door.
You said it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
you did say
But,
next
yeah,
door.
but here's the
One bonus too.
but here's the
Level 5 homicide bonus.
but here's
Yeah.
the thing, Jason.
I don't know what this
I
level
heard you say that multiple times, but here's the thing. I warned you.
All right, read
All
the
right,
solution.
All right, solution. The curator of the Museum of Fine Arts loves to gamble, a little too much. Riddled with debts, he agreed to sell the statue brought back by the expedition to Alexander Zakrovich so that he could reimburse the mafia, who had been putting more and more pressure on him. And I guess those payouts he's doing.
Kind of my life year over year.
To that end, he took advantage of Calvert, the night watchman, whose lackluster work ethic results in him routinely sleeping through most of his shift. Which we probably would have found out by talking to his wife or whatever.
Yeah.
After
Or
removing,
him.
After
Which
removing
would
the
be
artifact,
useless information.
he purposely caused a loud crash in an effort to make the disappearance appear more mysterious. The expedition members, who incidentally have themselves stolen the statue under strange circumstances, like we guessed, right,
Yes, we can do this.
are the victims of a young student of the great race of Yith who tries to anchor himself in one of their minds. Failing to do so, he passes from host to host, leaving behind their liquefied brains, and hides his tracks by systematically destroying his victims' skulls. If you want to learn more about these strange beings with conical bodies, read The Shadow Out of Time. If you feel like going on an expedition, read At the Mountains of Madness. You know
Which
what
are actual H.P. Lovecraft stories.
Yeah, but you know what Cone was referring to?
The body.
You know, Gravity fucking Falls.
Oh.
That's what the big bad in Gravity Falls is that triangle dude.
I haven't read any Lovecraft at all.
But have you seen Gravity Falls, the cartoon?
No.
Oh, awesome. But the big bad in that is a triangular dude from basically an evil dimension trying to get into our realm. And so that's how that's being described.
So I wonder if investigating the hospital would have done anything or not, because it sounds like he was just.
He might have encountered it.
I think what happened was, he was host for a bit, and it
And
didn't
passed
fully
on.
destroy him before it passed on.
Right.
And then he was hospitalized, so his body's just a shell.
Right. So then he was in here. Then he passes to
him,
to her.
To
She was
her.
the second one.
And so then, possessed, she smashes that brain to cover up.
Right.
Then passes from her to him. So then he,
No,
to him.
Yeah, to him. Then he passed from him to him. When he came over and visited for an hour, that's when it passed to him, and that's why he killed him.
He was about to crush our skull.
Yeah.
And pass into us.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
So I don't really go for this Lovecraft stuff, but I did buy a game at Essen when I went over there called Fate of the Elder Gods.
Yeah, I have that game.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
We've never beaten it.
Really?
Never got to 10.
I'm trying to remember.
All right.
It's been a long.
So-
on a Kickstarter.
To get us into the Lovecraft
so you
world,
have
I was
these-
like, how do we get
The
there?
ring, right?
The ring.
You
So
got
I
all
got-
that?
So I kind of did a little backwards.
Got to 10.
Yeah.
No, we've not.
If we had investigated John Abbast, we get, while John Abbast is away, you decide to investigate his house, but you spot his wife in the kitchen when you discreetly peer through the window. At first glance, the photographer seems to be looking at something to nibble on, but you quickly realize how strangely she's behaving. Oh wait, nope, that's the wrong one.
That's where you're fighting each other, right?
Yeah, you
25.
fight each other.
Yeah. We.
ELS 2.
And you've got to get to 10, but
Oh, here it is.
it comes.
You
scoring
tell the
goes around
anthropologist
this way.
quickly
It goes this
leaves
way.
the city,
And when it
goes to
beats,
Arkham.
You finish.
Some
Right.
And whoever's
More
higher up
specifically, the
wins.
Miskatonic
Yeah.
University
We've never got
spends 2 good
We've never got
hours
all the way this
before returning to
Maybe
Boston.
we
At the
haven't gotten
administrative
all the way. I
office,
don't
you
know.
learn that
I
he
know we
requested an
finished
interview
it
with
and
library
had winners, but
curator,
maybe we didn't get to that.
Dr.
because
Henry
it's got the 2
Armitage.
scorings. You got
So
to
we would
score
have to
it.
investigate who
So
to
long
get
since
that.
I got the original
The
Kickstarter,
Arbists.
Oh, did you?
which
his
was
house.
forever ago. And there's an
Oh,
expansion for
we
it
investigate
too,
his house.
which is
Yeah.
like the Beasts
Oh,
of something.
Oh, I didn't even.
Fate of
wasn't
the
even
Elder
aware of
Beasts.
that.
Let me see, actually.
Yeah.
But hey, we got full marks. It took us a
Yeah.
while, but we got there.
Yeah.
We
Jason right off the bat.
well on the one 3-pointer.
Yep.
But then I got us the 3-pointer at the Hail Mary.
The Hail
at the
Mary,
end.
yep.
Be like, oh yeah, City Hall.
Yeah.
Well, it was your idea to reread
That
the
was
City
back
Hall.
in
And it was like, oh yeah, we
2016.
forgot. We
Oh, wow.
glossed over that
Yeah.
Russian chick.
Yeah, so
That
I got
Russian
it at
collector
Spiel.
chick. We just
27.
glossed right over that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
like
were distracted
2
by the
games.
murder.
Yeah.
2 of it, and it was stuck in a
When
corner.
she was the big
in
bad,
shed
we
8,
just glossed right past
and
it.
I'm like,
exactly.
I saw it. I heard about it on a podcast, and they said they had great fun playing it.
Yeah.
So
When
I
you
went
get the
and I
wrist
finally
out of
found this
the
little
yes.
corner thing, and I said, "Have you got Fate of the Elder Gods?" Oh yeah, we got like 2 copies left. We only brought 10.
Mhm.
And I said, "Well, do we
And what time is it?
Yeah.
It was like 90 US bucks or something like that.
Yeah, I I remember it being enjoyable.
And
it's
it's
good.
I like the relationship because
But now you say that, and I'm
bored.
like, I should bust that one out again. 'Cause I still got it.
Yeah, because once you get to a certain level, then then the player next to you gets like a virus
This
card.
red is
Right.
really not.
It's like blood.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch this. I'm gonna have to rinse
it's been a long time since I played,
Yeah,
but I
me
do
too.
remember
Okay, I'll leave
3 or
this
4
out.
times I played it, I did enjoy it.
Will you just put that over there and leave it out because I'll have to rinse it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't quite understand.
It's good quality game as well.
Yeah, the components are really good. I've got the
You're not for this.
What?
the,
you're not for
the
the
neoprene mat.
No, I like
the
it. I like it a
expansion and
lot.
all that
I
stuff.
just,
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good one. Good quality.
I think you need, we played with 3 players, but I think you need like 4 is a good number.
Yeah.
4 or
I don't like the idea that it is in the Cthulhu world.
5. Yeah.
And it just seems maybe these are going to tie into each other later on.
I think they're meant to be individual. Individual
Because
cases.
that case had nothing to do with anything
Right.
at all with Cthulhu or any of that.
Well, no, it did because that's the thing that was jumping in their minds was the.
Yeah, but that had nothing to do with anything we just did. We just solved a caper that involved a sleeping guard and gambling debt. So
So that's similar.
So-
The statue though, Don.
I got it. It's only flavor. It is
Yeah.
not the,
Yeah.
like it. So unless we come back to
I will say this.
You want to see Cthulhu in a courtroom.
Well, the first case was very much all about like
Clones.
clones and
Like
magic
dead
and
clones.
I want to walk into the pits of the Lazarus
Of
pit
insanity.
and see the pits of insanity
Yeah.
and see the Lazarus pit and all of that. I want to see devil worshippers or whatever.
I don't want to see stars in your eyes and my brain headache at the very end. I want to see that shit from the start and progress.
Yep. I don't want to just find out after it was all affected that the people that they broke up just happened to bring back a demon that doesn't affect the outcome.
My thing that was really frustrating for me was where investigated branch and all that, and I just remember both times we found the bodies, it was like, oh, gunshot wound to the head, and oh, a halo around her head. They were fucking bashed in and the brains were melted. How did we not?
Yeah.
How was that not information?
Yeah,
given
that
to
should
us?
have been.
It was just, oh yeah, there's a bullet in their head.
Yeah,
What
that should have
head?
been
It's apparently
easier.
fucking gone.
Yeah.
How did we downplay
thing
that?
is,
Right.
that Armitage section was very long. There was a lot of information there, and the library was also long. And I'm guessing somehow the connection to the university and going there brings in a lot of that and brings in the Yith and stuff. And I'm just saying that we had no clues that led us to that.
Right.
I guess.
So
I
if we
was
were-
just
Yeah,
looking at
because
the
I see what you're
director.
saying.
So
we were
if it
just
would've-
following a caper, but nothing cultist.
So
led
at
us
some
anywhere.
point, it should have given us that cultist route to at least cloud it and make us not understand.
Right.
Or
Like
lead us
it
towards
should be a major part of the whole
Yeah.
thing. Like gift saga thought
yeah.
should have.
How long is the trick taking?
I think it's like 10, 20 minutes, but I am probably actually I'm gonna get going.
Out the door.
I gotta wake up at like 4:30, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably call it a.
You got to do a
early.
thing and then work all day, or you got to
No,
do a thing
that won't be
your
my
work.
shift.
Yeah, your shift is the
It's
whole.
just in service, but yeah, they